in Chang. Still raining, still flooding in some areas. You probably saw that already because it became quite a big news worldwide. The eyes are on Vietnam, and yeah, prayers, any donations, charity. There's going to be a lot of opportunities and possibilities to help people in Vietnam. But yeah, I'm safe. I'm in an area where it's not flooded, but it's still heavily raining on and off. So this place is one of the few places that is open, and it has been open for all the days. And having my coffee. Also preparing for upcoming UFC fight night in Qatar in Vietnamese time. It's gonna start at 10 p.m. my time. I'm talking about the prelims, and I'm planning to watch all of it. So we're gonna start from prelims and then the main card. Yeah. So basically, yeah. After this live stream, I'm gonna prepare for the prelims and for the card. Look up who some other fighters that are fighting, because yeah, there are a lot of new people. There's also Topuria's brother fighting, having his second fight in the UFC. So it's quite interesting to see the matchups and dynamics. And I'm gonna live stream my live reactions, and we're gonna be able to watch it all together. But now it's just yeah, basically just letting you know about it. It's raining. It starts to rain again. Like, just look at it. Yeah, so I'm just sitting here. It's raining again. But yeah, it is what it is. Also, what else from the news? Oh yeah, my channel hit 10,000 subscribers on the previous live stream, and I'm super grateful for that. I don't know, that's quite great. I'm quite excited about it. Hey everyone. Angelic Boxer Diaries, hello. Yeah, I remember you said that in the previous live stream. Yeah, exactly. Also, a live stream today, UFC Fight Night in Qatar later. In today, like to my time, it's going to start. The prelim's going to start at 10 p.m. and I'm going to sit on the prelims and then the main card too. So, yeah, I'm going to live stream all of it. And also on Sunday and Monday there is going to be a karaoke night. So quite a contrast comparing what I do. I'll also try on Monday. The gym is supposed to open because there's been problem with the electricity as well due to the floodings. So it affected even though not all the areas are flooded, the electricity is gone in a lot of places, and yeah, it has been an issue. Hopefully the gym gonna be reopened on Monday, and I'm gonna be able to live stream my boxing training as well. I'm 25 years old. And say hi to my husband in the chat. Aiden Chris. He's moderating, and yeah, just let's be respectful and please don't spam. Are you married? Yes, I am. Okay. I don't know. I have a little bit. I think I talk quite a lot lately, live streaming, working with my clients. So a lot of talking in the world. So I feel like my jaw is a little bit tense. Have you ever had a facial massage, guys? It's actually, I do the training, like boxing training, resistance, strength, all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, on the other side, I also do my facial release, the massage, applying pressure on certain trigger spots, and like I kind of do like a whole body routine. I teach my clients to do that. I help some other athletes that are suffering from overtoned muscles. And yeah, sometimes I do it myself too. In my case, it feels super tight in my jaw. And so don't be surprised if I do like this kind of movements. Yeah, don't be surprised. You don't have to read comments. No, I think I have, because people want to engage, and I want them to engage, so it should be fine. Do you think the UFC will take over boxing in popularity? Well, people think so, but it's still like boxing, wrestling, judo, even like any Olympic sport, pretty much. You tell that to people and they know it, because it's been around for a long, long time. Even if they don't watch it, if they don't have idea what is it about, they know the name. So boxing is one of the biggest sports. It's almost like you tell someone, oh, do you know what is football or soccer in American? They will tell you, yes, same about boxing. MMA, UFC is still, for a lot of people, it's like, what is that? I witness myself, like I always ask them, do you know what is UFC? Do you know what is MMA? And a lot of people are not familiar. So they're trying now to make it as popular as possible, as as much spotlight, as many eyes as possible. Now there is this Paramount contract, which gonna push the sport even more. So it's gonna be translated even more, and a lot of new people gonna see what's that about. I'm not saying they're gonna necessarily like it. A lot of people don't like mixed martial arts because they think it's too violent. But yeah, it has potential. Saying though it's gonna be more popular than boxing, well, in the community of the mixed martial arts and people who like boxing, and anyone from the other combat sports, watching the UFC, having a spotlight on UFC, possibly, but kind of like getting to the point that everyone knows what it stands for. I think it might take some time. How many rounds does the Paul Joshua go? I think it's gonna be rigged. I don't think Paul would stand for a real fight with Anthony Joshua. So I think it's gonna be rigged. I might be wrong, if it's opposite, if he proves that, it's a real fight, then respect, but I think it's going to be rigged. I never stop talking, my husband says. Yes, I talk a lot. Oh, someone here from Dagestan. Do you know Habib? Of course, and Islam, of course. I've been talking a lot about it, especially Islam, Topuria, Atarukian, and then this welterweights. Islam potentially against young Gary, Morales, Michael Morales, and Shavkat. We talk a lot, and Islam. We talk a lot about it, and Islam is and Habib's name. We mentioned it often. So yeah, well, I've been in Dagestan, by the way. In 2017, I've been in Makhachkala. Who's your favorite boxer? Well, I would put Tyson as all-time favorite, but I have others like Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Manny Pacquiao. Recently, just the general favorite, I would say maybe even like most favorite boxer, like as a true champion, the Floyd Patterson. I didn't know full biography of that man, but recently I looked into it, and yeah, that was a true gentleman, a champion. He was one of the Castamaro's students, And again, there are many other boxers that are fascinated. Current boxers, Crawford, Usyk, that I'm super fascinated with. Canelo is one of my favorites and the ones that I've been following for a long time. So it's kind of hard to say. I already said the few names that kind of stand on the top list of my favorites, but yeah, there are many fascinating figures in the boxing. I'm from Georgia myself, same country as Mirab, Mutwalishvili and Ilia Topuria. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Well, it's been raining, but it also flooded big parts of the city and the central Vietnam, and 49 people already found dead, and it's very. I think around 60,000 people had like lost homes, and they're evacuated. I mean, it depends if when the flooding goes down, they will probably try to recover their properties, but it's super sad. So I wish that rain stops in this case. I love rain usually, but yeah, it's too much. Too many people suffered from it now. Arman win first round. I hope and expect it to be a little bit long. He's not at his prime, maybe, but he is a tough guy. So not necessarily in the first round. I give a win to Arman. I think he wins, but well, let's hope it's a little bit more resistance. And again, it's like. I think Dustin Poirier said, how do you underestimate Dan Hooker? Like, that's the guy who gave me 32 stitches. And you remember that fight, right? It was one of the super tough fights. Marab, Georgia, yes. I've seen your story on Instagram. It's so heartbreaking, yeah. And well, at least let's give the prayers to Vietnamese people. Thoughts on Jake versus Anthony Joshua? Big step up for Anthony Joshua. Oh, man. Again, I mean, I think it's rigged. I think it's going to be just a big money trap. How do you strengthen your mental discipline? Seek for the self-awareness every single day. And it doesn't go only for training and being disciplined and having a routine. It also goes for learning things, reading, balancing it up, and learn how to deal with your emotions, learn how to deal with your fear. That was the Cas D'Amato's philosophy. Turn your fear as your friend. Everyone is fearing, everyone is scared before facing the demons, before facing an opponent on the ring. But it's about them, how you manage to put it. So all those aspects as the whole help you to create the ultimate discipline and consistency. Arman's gone to decision quite a lot. That's true. What's your dream UFC fight? Well, I guess Islam versus Topuria. I guess at this point. By the way, who are you? I like your hair, appreciate it. Just washed it so it's not fully dry yet. Hi, California. A lot of people usually from California come to my live streams. It's a dragon. It's a lady's face, and it's the bloody katana. Kind of my signature tattoo. What's more important, discipline or motivation? Discipline is more important, though motivation, I think you need to look at it a little bit creatively, and you need to learn how to spark that motivation. You need to learn how to do that. Otherwise, for the consistency, like discipline, consistency is the key for the success. No way you watch UFC. Well, I do. I actually do, and I've been doing that more often lately, since I noticed that people just, a lot of talks. No matter what kind of live stream I do, essentially, and it ends up in the talks about the UFC and boxing, depending what is the coming. Sometimes we have some upcoming boxing bouts, and people talk about that, but a lot of it is about UFC. You fight. I did amateur boxing many years ago, and I retired after, and I just kept training for myself. And last year, I'm being now on my way to preparing for pro fights, and I'm sharing that journey with its ups and downs, with all the aspects. What combat sports you like from striking, karate, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing? I would still pick boxing because I practice boxing. Effectiveness-wise, obviously, I think Muay Thai is the toughest striking martial art. It's actually interesting. Muay Thai was created to be able to kill your opponent with your bare hands. That's quite crazy. Could be Bekzat getting the upset over Tapur has got more power and seems faster. The upset over Tapuria. He's got more power and seems. I think I will stand for Tapuria because the Alexander Tapuria, apart from doing his debut, now he has a very strong. He's one of the people who has a very high IQ when it comes to coaching as well. And when you're a coach and a fighter, you kind of have an ability to self-coach yourself. So you can analyze the fights. I think they already learn. And that's the Tapurias. It's their team's very natural thing. They've been very open about learning their opponents very, very well. So I bet they already looked at the gaps of the Bekzat. I'm not saying that's going to be finish. I think he's a tough guy and he definitely going to give a resistance, but I'm going for Tapuria on this one. Also, I support Tapuria. Of course, I might be a little bit biased. You're Irish. No, I'm Georgian. I go for Arman today, but I'm anticipating a tough fight. I'm not looking. I anticipate the resistance from Dan Hooker. He's been a tough guy. He's not soft, and definitely not the one who gives up easily. I'm curious what you think about Jerry, not just the fight style, but his way of play. I love Jerry and the way of samurai, or I like to call it a peaceful warrior, or his inner warrior path. That is a super strong, super good path. I'm kind of following on it, but in my maybe more feminine way. Patience, grounding, consistency, like that inner peace, even in front of the, when you have to fight, when you have to step into the war. Practicing that. So I like his attitude. I like that he looks at it, at martial art as an art. Everyone has. Some people do that for money. Some people do that for fame. Some people for many reasons combined. But his approach is super authentic. I wish he could use his when it comes to the fighting style. I think I wish he used his hands for defense, and he was a little bit more diverse on that one. Fighting style, not necessarily my favorite, but he's definitely entertaining one. You cannot say, if you even get this last fight between him and Roundtree, he was losing 2 rounds essentially, and then he was like, oh, okay, go for a knockout. Not every fighter can lose almost the entire fight and just switch and okay, we're going for a knockout. That's not that easy. So definitely super interesting fighter. How do you perform a takedown? I'm a boxer. Don't ask me about takedowns. Are you a coach? I've been coaching a little bit boxing. I also work as a personal trainer, but it's more like a longevity and health. So I have experience into training people. But also I'm doing kind of like a self-coaching at this point, not without the help of the other coaches. Like when you self-coach, it doesn't mean that you're not like, you gotta use other coaches' help as well at some point. Yeah, I see myself as a coach. I think I would make quite a good coach. Muhammad Ali was a Muslim. Yes, his original name is Cassius Clay, and he rejected the name after, I think it was in a close friendship with Malcolm X, and this is the period when he converted into Islam. What height and weight category are you? I'm not a big person. I'm like 5'2" feet or 161 centimeters in the height. Now I am 54, 53 kgs, and I would go all the way to 48 kgs. So it's like a down even 5 kilograms, because that would be the most optimal way for me to start, that I could, show my skills, shine, easy entry. But then we'll see, like between 48 and 50, like it's a minimal weight in boxing for women, and 51 is 51 is a flyweight in boxing, not like in MMA. In MMA flyweight, I think 56 kgs. But yeah, the point is, I'm a small one. Prince Nassim, great boxer, but he was schooled by it was Antonio Barrera. Yeah, Antonio Barrera was classic Mexican boxing. He just schooled him. I did boxing when I was 11 years old. Now I'm 2010. I'll do hit the bag now. Well, whatever you do, it's good. It's better than giving up on it completely. Okay. I appreciate you being here, guys. Thanks you very much. Georgian, you must have been so hyped when Merab turned it up after first 2 rounds against Umar. Yes, I did. And, well, I mean, a lot of Georgians will say, we wish that Merab did a little bit of too much playing. I think he could just, go all the way in. But that's why I like they changed their game plan now. As a champion now, he submitted O'Malley. He really went for multiple knockout attempt. He almost knocked out Corey Sandhagen, and he was going for attempts on the submission as well. So I like that Merab is transforming now, and he's more aggressive, and he actually uses with his cardio, when he wears out his opponent, he actually, he should be more persistent on the rather submission or the knockout. Your morning wake-up time? Depends. I never compromise on my sleep. If I went late, like a previous night, if I went to sleep late, I just sleep as much as I need. And my schedule, fortunately, gives me that luxury. Hey, I just came up on your channel. What do you do? Well, boxing training and tips, like live streaming in the vertical format, UFC talks, and both boxing and UFC/MMA upcoming fight talks, live streaming, the reactions to the fights live, and kind of getting in that niche. Sometimes just talking about, motivation and mental health in sports and all that kind of stuff. And also sharing my personal journey, getting into the pro level to open my professional record in boxing. This is more for the purpose to kind of show that journey and maybe motivate others to do the same. Roy Jones Jr. has the faster hands than Muhammad Ali. Well, he was from middleweight, original middleweight. And, well, Roy Jones Jr. is one of the generally the best technical Plus, like he's probably one of the best, well-rounded boxers out there. What do you do now? Are still in the combat sports? Yes, I am. Hi, Kyla. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Good to see you. So, like, since I'm being live streaming more often now, it's nice to see people having more opportunity to come in, especially the ones that are we're friendly with. You have a lion eyes. Whatever that means, thank you. That's dope. Appreciate it. Ever thought about doing the fight breakdowns and posting on the channel, UFC and boxing? Oh, that's a super good idea. I kind of need to figure out how to do it more. How to say that? Because it takes a little bit of the editing time, but at least doing like it once a week, I think it could be possible. And as much as I focus too much on the live streams, I might even have soon a horizontal live, like a little show where I would invite some other people. Like I'm having, I had an offer on that and collaboration offers. So I might do that once a week, but I also want to do long form content more often. And yeah, here you guys can help me, give me ideas. What would you want to see the most? Commentary, I think, is a good idea, or breaking down fights and giving my perspective, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just need to figure out how would I do that to from the editing point of view, and how time consuming would it be. Any tips on the side gigs or way to make extra money? Well, it depends what you do. There are a lot of things that if you think outside of the box, there might be like online remote opportunities. I mean, if some people just get a lot of side gigs and they just do it, but also like it depends where you live in, because the place, if you work remotely anyways, or you can work remotely anyways, I would look into moving to the country where it's super affordable and you have an opportunity to potentially work there, but also do the remote working. That's one of the reasons we moved to Vietnam. We're managing to save up money and exactly not live to just paycheck to paycheck, but actually save up money. And that's great because, like, you can always save up money for future goals, like acquiring property, create some security for yourself. So I think, like, I don't know what's your capabilities, what your skills, but try to think outside of the box. Yeah. How often are your fights? My fights, I haven't had any fight yet. Again, potentially, I was supposed to go, like today, Saturday, there was supposed to be a sparring day in the Nha Trang Sport Unite. And I already addressed their coach, An, who is a Vietnamese, but he speaks both Russian and and English fluently. A super smart coach. And I was like, wanted to get his help as the coach to coach, even though I do self-coaching, it doesn't matter. I need someone who can estimate me from the side. So he was supposed to do that, like on the technical sparring day, but because of the flooding in entire central Vietnam, now the gym is closed, the power is cut off, and a lot of them are volunteering also to help others. So yeah, it's gonna get postponed hopefully till the next week. But yeah, this is the establishing my level, more like an endurance level too, because like, yeah, technique, I've been around doing and evolving my footwork and technique for a while, but it's about having that endurance and stamina as well to be able to pace your entire fight. And then, yeah, I already talked to a few people. One friend, he says he can organize fight whenever. Some other friends are in Thailand, also said no problem, could help me with that. So finding a match within the Southeast Asia wouldn't be a problem. And obviously, I'll live stream that. I'll show you. You're going to be able to see my fights. The best fights I've seen between two boxers, who are they? I would say Ali against Foreman one was like one of the legendary fights. Man, there are many. There's so many great fights. The fights that I was super satisfied about was Pacquiao versus Margarito. He was a cheat, and he would he would put something in the gloves that would harden lately, and he would so he was cheating, and Pacquiao just destroyed him, and that was one of the. These are the ones, like the old ones, that come up in my head. And I would say Triple G and Canelo trilogy. I think one of those fights, Triple G won and they gave it to Canelo, but it was still a great trilogy. Are you married? Yes, I am. What's your thoughts on Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, McGregor, Khabib? Oh my God, well, 4 different people. Brock Lesnar, I don't know. Like I know him from, actually, I didn't know he was in WWE. I know him from the fight with the Mark Hunt in UFC. Ronda Rousey, one of the reasons and both McGregor, one of the reasons I started watching UFC. I was like 15 years old at that point. But unfortunately, I don't like Ronda's attitude towards the loss and, towards the other fighters. It's better to be more humble and, acknowledge certain things. But she definitely brought a lot of spotlight. McGregor had a super great upcoming journey, like a hero's arc, but then got lost on the fame and money and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, they're doing well, but they're more, to me, the reputation, the honor, the presence is more important than, at some point, it's more important than money. And Khabib Nurmagomedov, definitely the pioneer for open doors for Dagestani fighters. Introduced that super dominating wrestling from the North Caucasus. The problem with Khabib is I wish to see more of him. Like I wish to see him at least 3 more years in the UFC because he kind of retired at his peak, and there are a lot of questions regarding that. Did you see Islam Zlata fight? No, I haven't. Okay. Tom versus Jerry, the best fight. Yeah, it's a classic. Yeah, Carvin versus Lesnar was also great. I'm trying to remember if I ever seen that one. I gotta refresh my memory. Why Tyson lost with Jake Paul? Because it was rigged. And there were moments like Tyson was getting close and Jake was like, no, I give, you got paid them with the money, don't do that. So no, Tyson, I was happy to see Tyson still got it. He could at his almost 60 years old, he could just destroy Jake. He could. Do you have child? No, not me and my husband don't have children yet, but we're planning within the next few years. How long would I last inside the cage against the Hamzatu with 0 fight training but athletic build? I'm 190 pounds, 6 foot. I don't think for long, I'm sorry. Because Hamzat is quite big himself too. He would just put you on the ground straight away and crucify you probably. Please don't spam. Okay, I'm gonna time you out 5 minutes. Just gonna time you out because, guys, please don't spam. Practice your English. Oh, you're the guy who's been telling me that entire thing. Well, my English it's my third language, and I'm managing. You look like a girl from Titanic. A little bit, maybe. Kyoji Hurugachi or the Russian guy. That's the prelims, I think. No, it's the main card, but I don't know. I actually don't know background of both of those. So that's why I'm saying I'm gonna look into some highlights. If I manage to watch a couple fights or something, I'm gonna try to go through all the fighters and both prelims and main card. And when I live stream later, so I know their background. You know what I mean? I'm gonna prepare after this live stream. Three most confident picks for UFC Qatar. Well, I can tell you that Arman wins. Alexander Topuria, he's in prelims, he wins, and I would go for Ian Gary against Belal. Ian Gary gets the win, in my opinion. Someone says your English is awesome. I'll be honest, I know that my English good enough because I've been told many times by native speakers that I speak fluent. So I already got a lot of objective feedback towards my English, and I'm quite confident about it. Max Holloway is where I'm from. What do you think about him? Max Holloway is a legend, the youngest UFC fighter. Like he was he like 19 or 20 years old when he did the debut, and like we grew up with Max Holloway. Like he was growing up while we were growing up. So yeah, and definitely legendary fighters. So having really good stamina will not help if I have zero fight training. Well, if you have zero fight training, you're not gonna have good stamina within the fight training because there's certain it's a different type of pace. For you to have a good fighting stamina, you need to be able to do those sparrings, have the interval type of cardio when you like speed up and like your breath, your pulse gets higher, and then you pace it down, and then again, and you know, and in the moments when it's super active fight and super pressuring, you have to be able to like operate and be active on the higher pace where your lung literally burn, and that's the feeling you need to get used to. So yeah, like if you are a triathlon athlete, or even if you have a super high VO2 max, you would still need to get used to like that interval type of cardio that is developed through any type of sparring, any type of wrestling, burnouts, specific exercises that you would do in boxing, in MMA classes and that kind of stuff. Okay, well, I'm just gonna put the guy on the timeout. Great picks. I mean, it's you know, as we say, you never know what might happen in MMA. You never know, 100%. We might get surprised, but it's just kind of trying to put like a logic, maybe the backgrounds, the styles, and you're kind of like, okay, that's the 60-40 chances or 70-30 type of predictions. Fight not go to distance for better odds. Arman is such a heavy bet. Well, again, I would actually love for Dan to win, but I think, yeah, Arman's going to have an advantage in the wrestling, and that's one of the bigger factors. You know how the wrestling and grappling is dominating, so that advantage is on his side. But when they say Arman first round, I don't think so. Like, I think it's going to be a decision fight. what do you eat before fighting, or what helps you to perform well? Well, it's an interesting question because it depends on what time is your fight, morning, later in the day. There is a principle of that the distance runners do when they have, like, let's say they have a marathon in the early morning. They don't necessarily eat like a lot. They might have the bananas and some energy kits, but if you eat too much of the food, it's going to be super heavy and you might not perform optimally. So what they do, they eat the night before. They eat the long-lasting carbs, like pasta and this kind of stuff. So they have the glycogen in their system when they wake up. It's not going anywhere. It is preserved in your body, and that helps them to perform. So if I had a fight in the morning, I might not even eat in the morning necessarily, but I would eat the night before. I would make sure that I am full of the glycogen, you know what I mean? So the low carb diet, when you are fighting and for any explosive sport, especially when you are supposed to have an actual fight the next morning, for example, don't do low carb. You need those carbs. So get loaded, get that glycogen stored in your body, and then you can fight. And you might eat one fast carb, something in the morning, but it's not going to be something like a heavy protein breakfast, which usually protein breakfast is great, but before the fight it might be super heavy and might make you feel sick. Have you ever gotten into a fight with the man during training? Is the gender difference noticed, like in a fight, like a conflict, that they wanted me like to take off my hat? No, not really. I mean, super friendly guys I trained with. They were rather the ones that didn't want to even talk to me because they had like their reasons, whatever. And they were the great ones. They were like, come in, I'll train you. I'll help you to, get to the thing. They knew exactly how to work. So technical sparrings with the men, for a female, is actually very beneficial to learn how to deal with the pressure, to kind of be, how to say that? If you do that correctly, it can be super good. I think I had the one time we had like the opener sparrings, and they put the boy in, and I think he was already, and I was 15, he was like 14, but he was already taller than me, and obviously he wasn't happy about it. But it's also, we were changing, so it wasn't like he had to fight me. It was just a sparring day, and we would change. They would change us in the trainings, and like he started fighting, and I just kind of like outbox him a little bit, which is nothing wrong, it's just outboxing and like beating someone's two different things. And he got angry, he got pissed. He literally got pissed when I got his face with my jab, and he started like really coming after me. So the coach was like, okay, stop. And I was like, that was the moment I was like, it felt like fighting for my life. But I think that was the only case that I remember from 10 years ago. I do sprint at top speed for 10 seconds and jog for a minute. That's a repeat. That's a good interval cardio outside of the boxing specialized training. You do the same kind of like on the back. Like when you do burnouts, you can do 10-20 seconds burnouts and then rest and bounce and then again. But the difference is sprinting is the most explosive movement that the body can produce. So here it is. When you do boom, 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 explosive fast punches, you still don't get nearly to that trigger, that the response that you create while you sprint on full in. So sprint intervals, as in like 80, instead of just running 10-20 kilometers, this is the thing to do for the boxing cardio and for the mixed martial art cardio. Go sprint full in, then jog back and do like a many rounds. Sprints can vary. You might do like 10 seconds, it's around 50-70 meters, approximately. You can go 200 meters, just to set 200 meters thing. You just sprint that 200 meters, jog back. That is also like 50 to 200 meter range for the sprint is great for that intervals. And as I said, it's the most explosive movement that the human body can produce. Your age, I'm 25 years old. I eat banana before training. That's good. Bananas are like your optimal fast carb, healthy, rich in potassium, so which is electrolyte. So it's good for you. Okay, I'm keep scrolling this through the chat, guys. Appreciate you being here. What's your age? As I said, 25. Makhachev or Morales? Oh, I'm saying that one might be the toughest fight for Makhachev. And hear me out in this case. Can Morales, if he lands a couple punches on Makhachev, knock him out? Not only him, but anyone else in the division. I think he can. So Morales is, I already said that many times, he's like a Pereira of the welterweight, but with an actual judo and the wrestling background. He's like a mutant. He's bigger. His reach is crazy. He knows how to wrestle better than, definitely better than GDM. So he would not, and he also, it would be easier for him to recover from the bottom position, even if he's taken down, because he's bigger and it's easy. So those factors all put together, Makhachev Morales is going to be a very interesting fight. Your thoughts on Conor McGregor? I mean, a lot of spotlight. He had a great journey, but, well, lately it's been... at some point I was a fan, then I stopped being a fan for certain reasons, Yes, Muay Thai forced me to run 5K just because everybody does it. It has become like a ritual. I know, in boxing we would also run 5-10K, but I'm just saying... we have a lot of very strong stuff, like very strong systems and schools from the old school. But then you look at the science and see that, there are actually better ways to do it. And there is a misconception about sport that you have to train a lot to be that elite level. You got to train smart, and you got to train actually pick your training the way that you don't wear off your body. If you do a lot of distance running, they're gonna, one way or another, gonna start hurting your knees, your hip joints, and you don't want those type of issues and the injuries. Whether when sprinting actually makes it stronger, makes the ligaments and the muscles. It also creates the hypertrophy. So that's why if you see sprinters, they're more jacked than the distance runners. And the patterns are different. Sprinting, intra sprints are closer to boxing and combat sports generally because it creates the explosive pattern rather than distance running, which is more pacing. But pacing, again, if you do triathlon, the multi-marathons, regular marathons, this is a way to go. So if you want to do any of those, you need to focus on that type of training. When you want to do combat sports that are explosive, basically boom, 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 exploding. Every punch is an explosive movement. You need to adapt the cardio for under the same patterns. So to me, I don't run anymore. I do sprints as well. Keep scrolling up, guys. What do you think about Luke Riley versus Alub Nigrosa? I don't think anything. I need to look this one up. As I said, I will prepare more. If it's the prelim fight, I mean, there are a lot of new ones or someone that is like been around but I haven't been following. So I need to look at the prelim card and the main card, look at their backgrounds, watch some highlights to be more, in a few hours you cannot just research and investigate each and every fighter fully. So, but I will do my best to look at their backgrounds. What's the general living cost in Vietnam? I will consider living there when I start working remotely. It's cheap. It's cheap, it's super reasonable, and it's beautiful. I'll be honest, right now we're renting a place in a boutique hotel, and it has both. It has like rooms, but also apartments with a little kitchen. There's some bigger ones. Well, all of that is between 170 to maybe $300 a month. And it's a north Nha Trang, but we like that north area. It's more quiet anyways. You can find in that range. And if you increase your price like 400, 500 US dollars, you definitely can find a nice apartment pretty much anywhere in Nha Trang City in Vietnam. Saigon would be more expensive, but still not crazy more. And Hanoi also would be more expensive, but again, not a very dramatic difference. But we love Nha Trang because it's more peaceful. It is coastal area. There are gyms. There you have everything you need, but it's more quiet. And yeah, basically, if you have $1,000, including the rent, it's normal. You can live as a one person. If you want to live more, like spend more money and have more spending budget, 1,500 to go, you're good. Everything else you can save up, like genuinely. Okay. Pratis in Makhachev. Well, Pratis is a little bit easier for Makhachev because Pratis is super cool. I like him, but his ground game is nothing near than Islam, and it might be kind of similar-ish scenario between GDM and Makhachev, except Pratis is definitely is going to be more a harder thing for in a stance. So I don't know what happened to GDM, but he definitely was too tight. Well, Pratis is not that personality. I think he's going to be very good on feet, but he also going to be taken down on the ground. Though we shall see if he recovers same way like he did with the Edwards. That's going to be legendary. Imagine Makhachev at the Pratis back, and he's like not impressed. That would be super awesome. But again. Also, the wrestling level of the Edwards and Makhachev is like very big. Ian Gary versus Bilal, who do you got? Ian Gary. Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, a rigged one. How is the boxing gym there? I competed in amateur Muay Thai, and I would love to compete in boxing. I would also like training in a gym that's more serious and not into fitness boxing. Well, you have two gyms that do fights, and if you talk to the coaches and say you want fighting, there are two gyms. They're basically MMA gyms, but they have boxing as well, and boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, they can prepare you basically for anything because they have like a split classes that focus on different combat sports, and they obviously generic MMA classes as well. So you have Nha Trang Sport Unite, where me and my husband are training right now, and they have like a few branches, like 3 or 4 gyms around the city, and there is a Silverback. I think they also have a couple or 3 gyms around the city as well. I've been in both. Silverback are also great. So yeah, it's going to be up to your choice. And regarding MMA in Vietnam, there is the biggest promoter is the biggest organization is Lion MMA, and they actually do like a fights. And usually Silverback, Nha Trang, kind of like these guys are. Very often, but there are also other gyms. Like, don't forget that there are like other gyms, some in Saigon, and there are more competition country-wide. So it's also a good place you can prepare here and do more fights in Thailand, because in Thailand I still think is the bigger competition. What do you like about fighting? Well, my attitude towards it's facing your inner demons. It's putting you in a situation that, how to say that? there is a difference between people who ever did like sparring and fighting and being put themselves in that situation, and people who never even like look that direction. There's something that you experience, something very unique that you experience in that moment, and I think it's like having an inner path, the warrior's path. I'm not full in fighter that is like all I'm doing is fighting. There are a lot of things I'm doing. I'm trying to grow, I learn, and progress and develop in a lot of things. But fighting is like the part of my life, and I want to approach it with a peaceful warrior's approach, but also approach it as like in a smart way. Being aware of what I'm lacking, being aware of what my strengths is, be more on the technical boxing side rather than just brawling and just fighting and getting too many unnecessary shots to your head. In the boxing, obviously going to get hit in your head, and you should be ready for that. It shouldn't be a problem. I've been hit a lot in my head, but the long term, I'm also trying to preach the sports longevity here, how to approach a preparation and training for the competition even while you're active, so the long term you don't suffer, or at least you diminish the chances of suffering from the consequences of it. So yeah, this is kind of how I approach it. But it's a unique feeling, guys. It's when you're one-on-one against someone, and sometimes it's like not someone, it's yourself. That's a feeling to experience, guys. So you're tough, one, cool. Where can we watch your fight, on TV or internet? Well, I had around 5 amateur fights. None of them are like recorded because that was like 10 years ago, unfortunately. What you can watch is my future fights. So those I'm gonna show, like I'm gonna translate like a live, and you're gonna be able to watch it. Live streams also get recorded and saved on my YouTube channel, so you're gonna be able to rewatch, get the highlights of it and stuff like that. So, but right now I'm in the preparation period. Looking forward to do more of the technical sparrings. And my other coach is going to help me. He's going to assess my level and help me to fill up the gaps and make myself ready for an actual fight. And scheduling wouldn't be a problem. I already talked to some people, and yeah, it could be easily organized. Oh yeah, I heard of Lance MMA. I was considering Saigon Sports Center before. Now I will add the gyms to the list. Sure. Yeah, those are also in the chunk. So it depends what kind of... In Saigon, you have more competition, more opportunities. You have more diversity. So it's like a second capital of Vietnam. So it might be more productive for being active, in a training, and there might be a bigger community. But in a chunk, I just love the combination, like the peace, how peaceful it is, but also you have those gyms that you can prepare, like no problem. And a lot of guys there, including owner and coaches, they compete. As our friend who is MMA fighter, and he's going to have his second fight. I mean, he had other fights before, around 13 fights, and he had a 4-year gap, and now he's fighting second time in that period. He won his last fight in Alliance MMA, by the way, and yeah, now he's having a fight in QATAR or somewhere, like I think it's somewhere in the Middle East. Good night, everyone. Good night to you too. Arman will be done. Well, I think so as well. Chanko versus Dylan Dennis. Who do you got? Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, definitely not Dylan Dennis. I need to do a lot of basic correction of my form since I first did karate and taekwondo and before Muay Thai. So I need to fix a lot of mistakes with my jab and cross. My hooks are okay-ish. Oh, that's super self-aware approach, and yeah, I'm all for it. I myself am like this. I'm like, okay, the certain things I worked on, they got better. My footwork got better. My, like certain things, certain combos, certain approaches that I changed that started working, but at the same time there's still like sometimes I open too much, and it's kind of natural. Even elite boxers, if you're slow-mo, you can see that opening at the moments, in the moment of the like catching up and exchanging with your opponent, but it's still something that you want to train. You still want to commit as much as possible to clean up your technique and bad habits as much as possible. So it just generally, when you are in the fight and flight response, you're automatically, you're in that mode and you're fighting. You have a better automatic response. Keep your hand up. Use your right hand as the shield, for example. Use a lot of moments, at least in the boxing. I'm purely talking through the boxing perspective at this point. But the approach itself works to any martial art. She sounds like a person from some Soviet countries. Well, I'm from Georgia, which is it used to be in the Soviet Union. We're not happy about it, but now it's an independent country, despite having the political issues and still a lot of Russian influences. Unfortunately, it's still an independent country with its identity, with its language and culture. God bless you guys, all of you. I've been practicing martial arts since 1985. Well, that's way before I was born. And I'm not an MMA fan, but I like great boxers like Ali, Duran, etc. Yes. I think I started watching more of the UFC and enjoying it also while I started live streaming. People started asking, so I started rewatching a lot of stuff, and I used to watch it before as well. And that reminded me. Hello, xin chào. But yeah, anyways, just I like watching mixed martial arts, and I do more and more of it, because before I would just watch it. Now I'm trying to analyze it and break it down. From the other hand, boxing is something that fascinates me, and still fascinates me. To me, boxing is because it's also concentrated on the upper body. It's feels like wow. It's so many details. It's like even the variations of the jabs, right? And how you set up the combination, and how now the boxers evolved to the point that a lot of boxers switch their stances and positions, and they try to execute those maneuvers. Boxing is great. Ali, legend, but you have also it's like the boxing history. Ali was inspired by Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson was one of some of his fights is black and white, and earlier fights we don't even have, because at that point they didn't really record that much. So we're lucky to have a little bit. Then we have Peekaboo era, and we have we have Patterson, Floyd Patterson. We also have forgot that boxer's name. He was also Casdamaro's and Floyd Patterson's sparring partner. Very, very so-called and Renaissance man. He was very talented. He moved into writing later and did a lot for the sport. And then you have Tyson. After Ali, you have also the four king era, you said Duran and three others like Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and Thorns. And it's just it's like a pieces of the history, you consume and you realize that it's not only that one boxer or one person, or it's not only just the sport, it's the history. 25. I'm 25 years old. Avengers, yes, I'm Natasha Romanoff. Is it Princess Mononoke on your tattoo? It's similar-ish. It's not exactly her, but yeah, it's kind of was a little bit not direct reference from there, but I wanted the female warrior with the makeup, and yeah, a lot of people think that's a Princess Mononoke. Okay. Islam is double champ. He's two division champ, not the double champ. Double champ is when you hold both weights and you don't vacate them. But he obviously vacated his belt, and now Ilya holds it. So it's a two-time. Ilya is also two-time champ. How do you build up the confidence to step into a kickboxing gym? My past toxic experience boxing gym ruined it for me. Well, that's a good point, because some gyms have the heavy sparring culture and super heavy training culture. Well, you won't avoid those. You need to go try different gyms and see where they have more gradual and chill approach to it, and like smarter, more science-based approach. Because a lot of those things changed. A lot of approaches, a lot of things that used to be a necessity now actually might be harmful. So yeah, you just gotta look at the gyms. Also be clear that you want to learn, but you don't want to unnecessarily heavy sparring. So you don't want to be in an environment they look at you, just laugh at you. Without heavy sparring you cannot learn. No, that's a BS. With heavy sparring, you're actually not learning that much. It's because you're in the survival mode, and your body, your brain doesn't really perceive a repetition. Like, you just go in the chaos. What you want to do is you want to have a technical sparring, technical work with the putting a thought to it. So you do that certain repetition. Let's say you do 1, 2, sleep, bump. You practice all those elements on the pads, on the heavy back, but also in the sparring setting. You train, you always talk and communicate with your sparring partner, with your coach, and they help you to do that repetitively in the sparring or technical sparring or the combo carving situation. And this is how you gradually learn with the clean technique, good technique, and then you're able to actually execute it. So instead of the natural response in the fight and flight, you would be just closing up, you would actually just automatically react because you practiced it and carved it in the moderate, comfortable pace. What's your fighting style? I'm a shorter boxer, so I would go inside and have a middle range and closer range occupied potentially. But also being able to go from the far, so I wouldn't go like 1, 2, for example. I would go boom, boom, directly from the slightly shifting while punching, covering with my shoulder, but also it would be like the angle would be upwards. So boom, boom. And then trying to occupy the middle range and do like a shifts and not just stand there, but try to occupy, use the clinch and like a closer range and find the gaps and openings and that kind of stuff. And my hands, I like to keep my hands up. I'm not like doing this unless the opponent is tired and I can mock them a little bit, maybe. I like to keep my hands up and I like to use them as the reflect, boom, boom, when you sleep. So always keep movement. You always gotta move, but you use your hands also to just get extra protection. All Georgian women are beautiful. Yeah, a lot of them. I don't look that much of Georgian. Sorry for that. There is a car. I think they distributed something, so it might be a little bit loud for a little while. I'm from Georgia myself. Hi, Rebecca. Frosty Cupcake. Thank you. And yeah, let me pin it. I appreciate. Sorry for that, guys. Yeah, I just tried to pin. Okay, hint message. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you. How are you doing? I'm already having a coffee though. Yeah, Ray Robinson was incredible. I believe he had around 201 professional fights. And yeah, he actually killed the man on the ring. I think that was some Californian boxer. He just passed away flat on the ring. And funny enough, Robinson was doing boxing out of, like, he was focused on making money. So when he's been asked about, like, does he like boxing, he's like, not really. I just do that to provide for my family, something like that. So it's interesting. Like, back then, it was not, a lot of the legends were not because of were not created because of they wanted to be legendary boxers. Back then, fighting was an opportunity for some men to provide for themselves and for their families and make some money. Like, you know, how it changed from that point to modern boxing. That is an actual one of the biggest sports in the world. Hello, I'm waving at you. Yeah, Robinson killed the guy in the ring. Yeah, that's. Do you follow a very strict routine if it's a gym or eating healthy? Not very strict. I try to keep the balance between, obviously I'm not eating like junk food or smoking or anything like that. I don't drink alcohol, but to me it's not being strict. I just don't like doing neither of those. What I do is, instead of training all the time, get up, train this, unless it's the training camp, unless it's specifically like a little bit higher preparation, I try to keep my activity like a baseline activity, stay toned, do the grease the groove, do the trainings, you know, but also I let myself recover enough, chill, read, have a coffee, you know, all that kind of stuff. Just try to keep the balance. So I have the peace of mind so that my body is recovered, and it's actually, instead of ending up in the burnout, having a good baseline for the activity and then entering more like an active sort of a camp preparation for competition, and do that with a fresh mind, do that, you know, with a good pace, and then essentially do end up with a good result. Because in reality, a lot of I think a lot of boxing fighters, and I've been there, but years ago I was super scared, super tight because of everything, like so much stress and pressure I was laying on myself, and it's like, why? Like, now I'm having different approach. It might be too chill and people might think that, oh, it's not serious, but it's important long term. Also, having that peace on the background, you try to develop discipline and ability to control your emotions. And when you have a perspective, when you step on the ring and you learn the comfort of it, and that's, I'm not saying I'm here, there, I want to get there. So to me, it's not just like, okay, I gotta fight. No, it's like, here we are. Now I'm gonna just focus. It's like a flow state. Fighting, reacting, having the counters, you know, so just dive into the process. And for that, obviously, there are aspects you need to build up. You need to have an optimal good stamina for it, to be able to, you know, basically face different type of resistance and the pressure, and the skill set that you already worked through, and thousands of repetitions. You start using them on the ring. So it's like the chess game almost, and then while rounds are over and you are like, oh, okay, that actually was something. What's your thoughts on Valentina Shevchenko? She's one of my favorites. She's one of my favorites too. I love her. I would love to meet her one day. She's definitely a true inspiration, and I would say she's my favorite female mixed martial artist. In UFC, and I think like general too. She's a legend. how many years of experience? Totally, I'm in the boxing for 10 years. I had 2 years of the amateur career, then I retired early for some reasons. It was, not. It was a little bit not ideal situation in the federation, but also my personal reasons. So then I quit training for some time. Then I realized that I cannot do it without it. Went back to training, met some people who helped me to work on my technique. And all these years I've been just like kind of changing, like developing my technique just for myself. And then this year I'm kind of like, yeah, why wouldn't I do the pro fights in my own pace, literally living my life, but having certain aspects in place that generally is good for my mentality and my lifestyle as well. Live stream it, show you that journey, develop my coaching skills as well, because long term my goal actually would be coaching, and that like having a certain styles, a certain approach towards the coaching, and especially a competitive one. Why not? I would love to raise kids, and I would love to raise young people, with a certain with my approach to get competitive for them. So that's kind of like a long-term vision when I'm older and when I'm not fighting myself anymore. But I'm sharing it now because why not? Chris, my husband, is in the chat. Yeah, Kyla is here. Cinderella Man is a wonderful story about that. One of my all-time favorite sport movies. Yeah, that's a great movie. That's definitely a great movie. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Where do you and your husband look forward to travel to? American. Right now we're here in Southeast Asia because it's just feels right for us, and we are able to save up money. We're able to train and keep growing my channel and do a lot of stuff. But we're not locked in here. Potentially Europe. If I get approved with a US visa, meaning just rather a business invitation, because we have some invitation there. Like some people want us to attend some conferences, or I tried to apply for B1, B2, which is both tourist and business visit purposes, but I got rejected. I applied in Georgia, but I got rejected probably because of a lot of traveling. At least what I saw at the latest reaction, that's basically almost the only question she asked. And she's like, okay, unfortunately, you're not eligible. But we shall see if we get approved for the US visa, so we can come for a visit. We have a lot of friends from the United States, so that actually could be a possible thing to do. Ma'am, who was your inspiration that made you start boxing? For me, it was Rocky Balboa. For me, it was it was just me trying to be more confident and being able to protect my sisters. I don't know, it might sound a little bit odd, but we don't have brothers. I'm the oldest sister in the family, and I was like, I want to be able to protect if there is a need. So I was like, I wanted to have that skill set. I started from karate, and then there was one guy who like really pursued me. In the beginning, I even thought that was a little bit odd, but in reality, he wanted me to go to their boxing gym because they needed, or there was a requirement for female. You're gonna have to have at least one female boxer in your gym to potentially they would represent. Get into the national team and represent the female team on the international level. So that was just the period when that requirement just was put in place. So I moved to boxing, and I just loved it. And I think I learned about Rocky Balboa and everything that is boxing related later. It's just I ended up in boxing before watching Rocky and anything from the boxing. The Raging Bull is a great movie too. I want to get into kickboxing, but my past experience ruined it for me. I used to go a very toxic boxing gym when I was younger. Well, I mean, not all of them are like this. Now you're an adult and you can be more selective, right? So just go for it. Just select, check few gyms in the area, check some of them online, ask other people, look at the reviews, and yeah, find the one that is not toxic. In no way you watch UFC. Well, welcome to my channel. Stick around for a little bit and you will judge it by yourself. My height is 5'2" feet or 161 centimeters. Belar versus Young Gary. Young Gary. I'm from Georgia. Same country as Mirab and Ilya, since we're talking about UFC here. Kako це? Сасим он метафизику беднее дрекон. Засеве, кайхаре, кайхаре. I responded in Georgian. Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather? Well, two different styles. I would put Mike Tyson just for me, but Floyd Mayweather's, you know, you have the money, Pretty Boy era and money era. I think Mayweather generally is, there is no without questions necessarily, but he's definitely one of the best boxers if we look from the boxing technique and IQ perspective. Who's your favorite fighter in UFC at this point? Well, obviously Georgian fighters that I always cheer for. Alex Pereira is one of my all-time favorites, and well, there are many. There are like out of the retired ones, Dimitri Johnson and GSP, and as I said, there are many that I'm fascinated, and I'm really I like them a lot, but you know, people ask that question, so it's hard to respond. What drives you to achieve your dreams? Creating a value for others as well. It's not only me doing fame or glory or popularity or anything like that. The best feeling I experience is when someone tells me that they were low and they just watched my live stream or something, and they once I've been told that it saved their life, and people might don't believe it, but imagine being someone who are like suicidal and don't want to be there, and they get the hope and they get some motivation and some knowledge and information about how to build that consistency and discipline gradually as well. This is probably the biggest motivator for me for doing all of I'm doing. So yeah. Yeah, did you see Islam pass Ilya pound for pound? Yeah, I did, and I don't disagree with that. There was a lot of Georgians were like, how did, but the ones who actually watch it, pound for pound is not perfect either. Sometimes Jones was pound for pound for a very long time without, barely fighting and stuff like that. But in this case, pound for pound, that Islam went on the first place is well deserved. And it also makes sense. There is a clash between him and Ilya at this point. If Ilya, for example, wins against Paddy and Arman Tsarukyan, I think he might get back on the number one again. So it's going to be, I think for quite some time, it's going to be between Ilya and Islam. And there is nothing wrong with that. At this point, it's well deserved for Islam to be pound for pound the best. I learned how to grapple with the Royce Gracie nephew. Well, that's legendary. That's awesome. I do Muay Thai. Do you know about it? I don't watch Muay Thai that much, but yes, I know about it. Been watching your channel for a while. Keep up the good vibes and being positive. Appreciate it. I will. What about Khabib? Khabib, again, he's pioneers for the Dagestani fighters, introducing that North Caucasus dominating wrestling and the thing. Definitely was dominating, but he retired a little bit too early. Also considering that his first 15 fights are not really a strong resume, but then, well, following 15 fights are definitely better. I wish to see more of him doing more. Like maybe a couple or 3 years extra. But, well, we know it was his decision after his dad's passing and his mother, like, wanting him to retire. So I understand that might not... It may be, like, I don't think it was necessarily a decision for him to just, duck other fighters. It was very important family decision as well. And, like, I can't judge him for that. But there's still, about Khabib, we have some questions. Let's be honest. George St. Pierre is the GOAT. Yeah, fair enough. Well, his comeback, like when he retired, like all of a sudden, then comeback in the, I think it was middleweight against Michael Bisping, and then he retired for good. That was a little bit kind of odd. But again, he also had his own reasons. There was like something with the health and personal things that he had to deal with. And I completely understand that. But what I like about GSP, that basically every fight he lost, he avenged. He avenged and he kind of closed that record. So that's what I like about him. He didn't try to be undefeated. He went for the hard ones. He lost, but then on the rematch, he won those fights. So, yeah, GSP is a GOAT to me. What do you think about life? Life is the journey of the challenges and, good events and negative events, but it's definitely worth living. Love to support and boxing match against me. I would agree for the technical friendly sparring, for the training and learning purposes, okay? That can be interesting too. It's still, it's about like catching each other, like deceiving each other, like tricking each other into, different styles or something, let's call it that way. What do you think about wrestling? Wrestling is super dominating in UFC. Wrestling is an amazing sport. One of the sports that maybe develops the craziest physiques, both in men and women, because every inch of the body is involved. So Greco-Roman, freestyle wrestling, 100%. And good to start for kids, a little bit of gymnastics, wrestling, maybe then a little bit of BJJ, and then striking. I think it's a good sequence to do. What should be the strategy or gameplay against Russian grappling style in UFC according to you? Okay, so the grappling, let's split. So grappling is a combination of the wrestling, BJJ, depending, it can be judo background, can be sambo background. So you have like a few styles. Russian / Caucasian wrestling is super dominating wrestling, takedowns, working majorly from the top, like if you work from the bottom, that is a BJJ part of it. So obviously it complements it. It increases your chances. If you know both wrestling and BJJ, you're basically dangerous from all the positions. But wrestling is dominating against BJJ. If we take split grappling as the styles, as I said before. So you need to, like, I think other UFC fighters need to focus separately on the pure wrestling and develop that physicality, develop that technique, being able to wrestle basically. Because a lot of people started focusing on BJJ against wrestling, and the only thing we see as a BJJ, you might be able to protect yourself from the submission, but it's not going to give you the win. So BJJ against wrestling is not the thing to go. Wrestling against wrestling, and also developing your physicality, gaining the muscle mass, do the water cut, and then regaining that mass back. So basically being stronger and more jacked, that's going to help to kind of have a power, like push the power into the wrestling, and basically just give the good resistance by being used to that resistance. I'm not saying that's easy to learn. Wrestling is harder to learn than striking, but that's, I think, the approach to go. And if you do like a year of training like that, and you create that super resistance, and you make them realize that they also they also spend too much energy on it, then it's going to be an easier to maybe put the fight back into the stance and try to control it better. I'm not saying that easy or like super I'm not saying that's super easy to achieve, but yeah, pure wrestling camps with the high level wrestling stars, I think is way to go. Okay, keep scrolling up. I've had this argument with my friend about GSP, Habib, and Jones. we all are entitled to our opinions. That is also something that, well, I mean, it's my opinion, and I can tell you reason why, but you might still disagree with me. So I'm not really engaging too much into arguing with people, especially after I make my points and, people still disagree. Well, so that's okay. Well, feel free to agree to disagree. What about judo? Well, judo is good, good for the takedowns. What do you think about PFL? Well, I don't really watch PFL. Actually, the person I know from PFL is not personal, but the one fighter I know is Dakota Dicheva, and I think they're trying to get her into UFC, but PFL really refuses. I hope to see Dakota once into. I think that she's gonna refresh women's division, like flyweight. I think she's in the flyweight super well, and well, Valentina versus Dakota would be interesting because Valentina is also way older, but she's super experienced, super high IQ. It's like her lifestyle. She might be going like up until she's 40s with her lifestyle, and then you have Dakota with that young, like super physique, super like she's like a Pereira, Alex Pereira in the females, or some people even compare her to female Joan Jones. So yeah, could be interesting. You married, yes. Have you ever dreamt about representing your nation in Olympic or international level at boxing? Yeah, I've dreamt about Olympics, but then I realized, I mean, it's I just want to represent my country, and even if it's just a pro directly without the Olympic boxing, I don't mind, because I'm already at the age, I'm 25 years old. It's a good age to go pro, but trying to get, and I will have to get into Georgia and be tied to Georgia, which is not really aligning with our plans. Traveling a lot and being in a place we're good at and save up money and a lot of stuff. So that's why we decided to for me, the most realistic would go directly for pro. I just saw it. You look like a WWE wrestling Becky Lynch. That's the most common thing I've been told. What's the difference between Georgians and Armenians? I cannot differentiate. Well, two different countries, neighboring countries. But and it's funny. We have a lot of Armenian Georgians, so-called, that speak fluent Georgian, were born or raised in Georgia, but they're Armenians originally, and they usually also know Armenian language as well. So it's quite, it's like a two neighboring countries, but different countries. Okay, keep scrolling up. How old are you? I'm 25. I guess judo is not really effective in combat sports, more in the street fight maybe. No, elements of the judo, because like judo takedowns, like for example, when you have an opponent from the cage and you try to get to your leg, judo is actually the best. Having a judo, like a solid judo background for those takedowns, it's possible to basically take your opponent on the ground from any position. But only judo background is not enough on its own. It has to go together with wrestling. If you would choose a grappling martial art sport for the UFC, and you could choose one, I think you should go for wrestling. Even against, like, if you choose between BJJ and wrestling, go for wrestling, Greco-Roman, freestyle, and possibly Sambo as well. I'm giving you so much time. People are taking truth. Okay, I'm not going to read that out loud. Arman or Dan? Arman, but by decision. Okay. If you have longer questions that require longer answer, and super comment, and we will try to best to help you out. Just got monetization back to everything helps. So yeah, that's your comment's gonna pop up, and I'm gonna be. I rant a lot, but I'm gonna rant even more for the answer if there is like a super chat and the real complex question. Yeah. Also, feel free to support my channel through the super chat donations. Keep scrolling up. When did you get your braces off? Back in Georgia. So, yeah, I'm brace free now. Ma'am, yesterday you said you read Shiva Shakti. Happy to hear that. And next time you visit India, to visit Konarak Temple in Odisha, it's worthy to visit, and who knows, it'll be lucky enough to meet you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, coming back to India at some point could be a very interesting experience. But yeah, so far you're right. I'm quite fascinated and very interested in the Hindu religion, philosophy, and mythology. I'm reading about it. Yeah, Christian morals, yes. I mean, definitely a lot of Orthodox Christian morals as well. And I think we need to stop, like, Christianity, general Christianity. There's like 40,000 different branches, and you have like a bigger ones like Orthodox Christianity, which is also there are different branches, like Russian Orthodox and Georgian Orthodox, kind of different. And you have Catholicism, and you have like Protestant, Lutheranism, all that kind of stuff. Well, I think Christians need to stop arguing about the details. You know, if there is a Holy Trinity, or like, you know, Jesus is the God himself, or Son of God, you know, that kind of stuff, because the values are the ones that matter. Christian values are quite good. There are a lot of things about Christianity that builds a healthy, positive society. We just need to focus on what really matters, instead of the, you know, certain details that we can agree to disagree. Wrestling and karate. You're very well educated in fighting. as a sport, obviously. I'm a lady. I don't have a channel about street fights, and a lot of people ask me, "Oh, what would you do in street fights?" Avoid them. Have a gun if you can, like to be able to protect yourself. Be environmentally aware. If you are ending up in the situation, want to run away, train sprinting. You don't want, like, guys, you don't really want to do like a street fight just to fight. It's not the smartest thing to do. What do you think about Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua? Another rigged fight. Might be wrong if Paul gets the real fight there, and well, he's probably gonna get knocked out. But I almost certain that it's not. I think it's just gonna be as rigged as it was with Mike Tyson. Shrek is my childhood too. I like it. It's super cool. Georgian in East Europe. When they took off her braces, she got shorter, and this one says 35 centimeters. I'm from. Oh yeah, he's joking around. He likes to bully me because of my height, and I'm not that short. Why Merab and Ilya have different surnames? Isn't Dvalishvili very famous there? Well, Dvalishvili, we have a regions, and surnames come from different regions. Tapuria is from Megrelia, like Tapuria, and the surnames in Georgia that's Finnish, and Ia or Va are from that specific region very often. So he's like a Megrelian Georgian. And Dvalishvili is Kakheti, or I'm not sure, but like Shvili is actually child. So yeah, a separate word, Shvili. So it would be like a son of Dvali, but like Georgian surnames are a bit odd. Some of them would come from the background of like a son or the child of the certain family, and it will be it's actually Dvali. There is a Svanetian name Dvali, and maybe Dvalishvili is like son of Dvali. There is the chance that it transformed into a separate surname, like a from Dvali to Dvalishvili. So it's interesting. There are a lot of backgrounds to the Georgian surnames, but it's different regions basically. Speaking of that, Merab is officially from Vani. That's the village. So I focus on what's important. I agree. Is Islam versus Ilya or Jones versus Tom or Pereira the biggest fight right now? I'll be honest, I'm looking forward more for Ilya versus Islam, because both are being active, both are being dominating, and super interesting how it's going. When Jones kind of being retired, but like then he's kind of saying that he wants to fight the White House. And Tom's controversy with the eye poke, I think he needs to have a rematch with Gunn. If Gunn does the eye poke again, he needs to be disqualified. Like just that. I think they need to enforce the eye poke punishment more, like harder. But at the same time, again, Tom versus Jones is kind of like, yeah, people are gonna want to see it, but I don't know, people are already frustrated enough with, how Jones was sitting on his belt and kind of avoiding Tom, but now Tom, people say, oh, he's not as dominant, just judging by the first round that was super close, and the eye poke, and that he refused to continue after that, calling him soft, which is, I think, unfair. It's unfair, but I think the interest toward that fight is kind of decreased a little bit, just because of the fan fatigue. Islam and Ilyas want to go for sure. I'm 161 centimeters or 5'2" feet. Are you going for Arman tomorrow because he's Georgian? Well, Arman is Armenian. He was born in Georgia. He's like Akhaltsikhe, it's like a city in Georgia. And he was born there. But then he lived most of his life in Russia. So he's kind of like born in Georgia, Armenian, but like living in Russia and spending most of the training mostly in Russia as well. Arman is winning, but I think more by decision. I don't think that it's going to be and like very one-sided fight. There might be some resistance from the no, there will be some resistance from the Dan Hooker. He's a tough guy. It just yeah, Arman has advantage in the wrestling. I think he's going to try his best to play on that. Yeah, I'm from Georgia, the country, Tbilisi. If you had to choose between boxing and YouTube content creation, what would you choose? I know I've asked a very difficult question, knowing that you love both. Well, you mean the professional boxing? Like, I would choose content creating. I would choose trying to give the tips, learning the commentary, maybe gradually interviewing. This is the bigger plan. The boxing part of it is just a part of it, because I just want to show, you know, just instead of talking just theoretically, I want to show that what I'm capable of. But this is the part of this. I might not even done it without encouragement from the live streaming and like my audience. So I still choose YouTube content creation, but I would still stick around the boxing. Just focusing more on the coaching side of it. I trained with the Gracie family in the League of Shadows. That's super awesome. Please don't spam only. The eye poke wasn't just an eye poke, it was double eye poke. Super nasty one. I already said what I think about Islam versus Ilya. Well, 170 Islam, 60-40 against Ilya, because it's just naturally better weight class for him. In the lightweight, I go for Ilya, same 60-40 percentage, and in the catch weight, let's keep it 50-50, just, you know, because I think they are they could, that it wouldn't be like necessarily like easy fight, but it could go depending which side would impose their game plan, their rules would determine who wins. You see Jones Pereira fighting in the White House. Easy fight for Jones. I love Pereira. I was saying that he's one of my favorite UFC fighters, but it's just going to be easy for Jones. He's bigger. The only one thing he has to be obviously avoiding is Pereira's power, like the punches and stuff. But on the ground game, I think Jones can just keep him there, and you know what would happen. However, I'm not saying that Pereira will lose 100%. You know, he's super dangerous when it comes to the striking, and you gotta respect that. Was Islam and GDM your first UFC watch along the live stream? I think so. Yeah, I think so. Conor Habib, ma'am. At this point, Habib. Before, like while Conor was coming up and, you know, coming from the poor background and, you know, having that hero arc, then back then it was Conor, but now Habib. Yeah, I don't have a cauliflower ears. Okay, and keep scrolling up, guys. In your opinion, who do you pick for the top 5 pound for pound? Okay, so, oh, I just hurt my foot a little bit. Hold up, just need to massage it. Okay, so, well, who do we have currently? We have Islam, then we have Topuria, then we have Merab. Is the Pantoja force Alexander Pantoja? And let me pick. I wouldn't change it. Let me just pick the 5th one. I would put Pereira. After his win to win against Ankalaev, and that was like a direct rematch, right? So, yeah, I would put him there. Keep your answer short. I know, I rant sometimes. I'm your new subscriber. I've been almost a week. I watched your channel, and let me tell you, the level of the content you're delivering, here was the way, a lot of potential, looking and praying for your success, appreciating, and thanks for subscribing. I already said about Islam and Taporia, kind of like the stakes, depending on the weight class. Good question. He said he wants the winner of main event, which is Islam. Yeah, you mean Tapuria was saying about the, well, that, yeah, he's planning to, he was saying about going up to welterweight, but confidence is good, but he got to realize that he will need to stock up as much muscle mass as possible, which is not an easy thing to do short term. So he would do the water cut, and then he could regain that muscle mass, because if he doesn't have enough muscle weight in the welterweight, he's already too small for the welterweight, at least against Islam. But, well, what if we have Ilya against Morales? Like, that's unbelievable. Like, Morales and it's not about Ilya being great or not, it's just such a big size disparity, you know what I mean? So, yeah, like the welterweight is a tricky one for Ilya. He's way too small. If he goes just against the Islam and then comes down, that's one thing, but so Ilya staying, and then Ilya versus Khamzat, that's like, that's again, it's a little bit too of the science fiction. And I'm just talking purely because of there is the bigger weight and size and strength and power disparity. That's a lot of weight and cutting, exactly. Are you interested in any other sport, man? Boxing and UFC at this point, like the most. But I've been, when I was doing sprinting for a while, this is actually how I started this channel. It was, like I've been following a little bit on the sprinting too. But yeah, like I know some sprint track and field performers. I believe, ma'am, you're also inspiring more female athletes to come up and top of boxing, whatever sport they are in, and that's a real feminist. Lots of love and respect from my side. It's like, yeah, the real feminism is not even focusing on the feminism. Like, I'm not trying. I'm trying. Yes, I want to be an example for girls. And one of the best compliments I've been given was some of my viewers who have daughters, and adult men who have daughters, and they'd be saying that you're an example for my daughters, and I'm showing your stuff for to my daughters. So I want girls to stand up for themselves, be grounded, stand on that, you know, feminine warrior path. There is different paths. You don't have to, as a female, you don't have to give up on your femininity to be on that way, on that journey of the grounding and self-realization and self-responsibility and developing patience and all that kind of stuff. But the more you get into that, the more you relate to other people who are going through the same journey, the more it's not about feminism, it's not about any ideology, because those ideologies are isolating. They isolate you. As much as I want to be inspirational for girls and young women, I'm not going to call myself feminist. I'm not going to put myself, oh, you go girl, just because you're a girl. No, you're a girl. You can go through that path. You can be beautiful, smart, tough, nurturing. You can have it all, but it's the journey you need to go through first. And same goes for men, younger men as well. And we gotta create, like, by going that through those individual journeys, we gotta then create a unity. Men and women, older, younger generations, we need to start to work together and create unity, not only in the world, but in our countries as well, considering that there is such a division in the political, even like just taking the political side of it, they try to split and divide us. So we gotta fight that. adjusting to a bigger weight is hard. Yeah, people think that some people think that you just gain weight and stuff, but it really doesn't work that way. So yeah, respect and thanks for your kind words. Yes, guys, appreciating all support here. Who's the best wrestling? Khamzat, Khabib, or Islam? It's a heartbeat. They're super. I would put Khamzat first, and Khabib in Islam up to like both kind of like same. God bless you all, guys, as well. Who do you think who will be a good contender for Islam in the welterweight division? Well, at the very least, both Shavkat and Morales. I'm super interested to see Islam versus Morales, because there is such a danger for a knockout for Islam. Like, Islam can get knocked out, but everyone in the welterweight can get knocked out by Morales because of his size and his power. And he has the judo and the wrestling background. So it will be also interesting to see how he counters, not only with his skill, but with his size and the strengths, how he's going to be able to counter Islam's wrestling. It's definitely not going to be a GDM scenario. Shavkat, also interesting, also as the person who is completely undefeated, super great striker, can do the wrestling too. But I think, yeah, Morales versus Islam going to be the hardest one, toughest one for Islam. Respect. Respect to you too, guys. Oh man, great point of view. Appreciate it. Based not on the woke nonsense feminist, but the genuine feminine woman that inspire. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that before then, there are some cultures, not every culture, but there are some cultures that in the samurai field, there were female samurais. I think with the last female samurais who were known to fight like recklessly. And they had even adapted weapons for the lighter weight, but like there were female samurais, and I think the last recorded was 68 to like 1868 or 1968, and you have the shield maidens in the northern cultures. Like, those women had their place there. Why? Because they were earned, but there were only women who were earning that through their hard work, resilience. So you had to fight for the rights as the woman, but that's the thing. You had to fight for the rights as everyone. That's why men also were trying to chase the glory, because they would get more rights the higher they get. So this is how the history worked, and there are not as many women as men, obviously, because most of women still would stay at home, take care of the home, and do the chores and work and sell bread, make products. And these women were also tough ones, because in those periods you had to be tough. You didn't have time for nonsense and stuff. But then I'm talking about also the warrior female. So we have in different cultures the examples of the female warriors, and those were the chosen ones, the ones who would go through the hell and through the resentment and the skepticism, and they would get there. There was no feminism at that point. And as I say, that I understand that there are a lot of rights that we acquire. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change the rights I have that some of my women ancestors, fought for or demanded. But at the same time, now we got to the point. Now we are living pretty much in life, except some other parts of the world. There's some parts of the world that a lot of men and women are still deprived, and they are oppressed. But in the Western world, and even here, in a lot of parts of the world, I can work, I can travel, pretty much I don't have that much problem. So why wouldn't I want to be united? So again, we're also living in times of division, and that is not good. That is a little bit of negative side effect of all this fighting for my rights and their rights. Now it's time to just all get together, base relationships and communities on the respect, and earn that respect. Realize that there is a basic respect and politeness, right? But also there is the respect, the real respect has to be earned, whether you're a man or a woman, anybody. We gotta base the communities on the respect and ability to work together for everyone's good. And I think we're gonna be able to survive that way. Okay, I'll keep scrolling up. Sorry for ranting again, guys. MMA guru is casual. Well, I haven't seen any of his stuff like directly, but based on what some of the stuff he says and people reacting, yeah, he's more like an outraging figure, and he's getting basically his visibility through, that way. Imagine Ilya versus Morales, exactly. Like, I'm sorry, Ilya, appreciate you, but that would be crazy. My husband says, be respectful or he will kick you out. He's a moderator. Yeah, Chris is the boss here. Yes, he is. He's the boss, bodyguard / manager and moderator. I think Islam is overall better than Khabib, but I think Khabib would win. Why? Because Khabib's wrestling is superior. Also, his power and durability was insane. He never got chinned and never bled. Also, a little bit different competition. No, his wrestling, no doubt, was super dominant. But as I said, against even against Ilya, I think Khabib would have a harder time. Yeah. Considering that, like, if we take Dustin Poirier, giving one of the hardest resistance in the fight to Khabib, like, I think, yeah, the newer generations could stand a chance because no matter what you do, there is the evolution, the styles, the approaches, the physicalities, all of that evolves. But if Khabib, I scared the puppy. But if Khabib, from the other hand, if Khabib trained to today's standards, he would focus a lot on improving his striking, which was not that good, but like he would improve and really improve it. Then it's another story. It's also about the how you would approach your preparation. You rather evolve together with the competition, or you get left behind. We're in Vietnam, but I'm originally from Georgia. And Chris, my husband in the chat, he's Norwegian. Imagine Connors comes back and Khabib just to maul him. That would be cool to watch. I think that would be a money fight for sure. Empire is built on blood and fighting. Well, it is. Survival is also built on that. The countries like Georgia never been an empire. But always been trying to survive, and yeah, survival is also built on the fighting and blood. What's your religion? I'm coming from the Orthodox Christian country, from Georgia. I share a lot of Christian values, but at the same time, I don't identify myself as the pure Christian. I am. What was the other live stream? Someone said it very well. And always learning craftsman or something like that. My husband says MMA guru seems like a keyboard warrior. Well, as I said, he's basing his content and his visibility on the outrage, and it works. If you actually look at it that way, there are a few things that sell. They say sex sells, outrage sells. So there are a lot of emotions. There are a few emotions that if you trigger those, people are going to respond. And well, in that case, for algorithm, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It's just the views and the clicks. do practice kicking. From karate and a little bit of kickboxing practice, just on the amateur level for myself. I know how to do kicks. I do a little bit of the technique every now and then, but right now I don't do that much. I purely focus on boxing. MMA guru is disrespectful. Well, one of the reasons I don't really give him that much attention, because that's kind of not the content I'm interested. I rather listen to Henry Cejudo and like Demetrius Johnson, who have a social media presence and they have actually a knowledge to base their opinions. So even though, like, in UFC and MMA, you can't predict everything 100%, and you're, even as a professional mixed martial artist, your opinion might be wrong regarding fights and stuff. But it's still, it's these people are, they understand, they've been there, therefore they're more respectful. They understand the pressure and the hard work for every current athlete in the sport. I think Islam will surely submit if the fight ever happens. Well, the problem is people don't know that about it, but they forget that Ilya BJJ himself. The difference is he doesn't really, he builds his game, so he uses wrestling and grappling to be able to have his fights in the ground and to perform knockouts, because he understands that is more entertaining, and I like that about Ilya. But he actually has wrestling, so it's not gonna be scenario GDM like versus Islam. I have a junior girl a year younger than me in the school. She was always so self-doubting and negative. Gave her your video. She's your daily viewer, and your channel helped to improve herself. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing it with someone that you thought it would be useful for. So that's very sweet. I appreciate it. And well, tell her that she gotta keep watching it, because she got it. Everyone got it. Everyone has a potential. But there is the difference between people who try to realize that potential, and people who just spend their lives in the self-doubting, and they just cocoon in that mentality. Well, you definitely don't want to. You want to start slow and start learning things, get better gradually at certain things, and try to realize your potential. Imagine Leah versus Morales. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I agree, but the wrestling is the most dominant part, and we see it with the likes of Hamzat or Islam. I definitely, I agree. I was even saying earlier in the live stream that in the grappling, even if you choose between grappling styles, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, wrestling, like Greek-Roman or freestyle wrestling, and Sambo, for example, you would rather go for wrestling. Wrestling is the most dominant out of those. Sambo probably second place, and Jiu-Jitsu is just good to be dangerous on the ground as well, being able to recover. But if you take just BJJ against wrestling, you're gonna end up like in a GDM or a DDP situation where they didn't get submitted, but they lost the fight. Adjusting is very important, that's true. Will you be watching the streaming the UFC like the last time tomorrow? You mean like if I'm gonna do it later. The prelims start at 10 p.m. and now it's like it's 3:40 p.m. here, so it's in a few hours. And as I said, I'm gonna try to organize it so I can do the live stream. Oh, sorry, it's like what flashes up sometimes. MMA Guru started following UFC recently. Well, I guess, but I don't think he ever trained. And I don't want to be mean about it, but I think we all agree that I never trained MMA professional myself, but I've been around the fighters, I do boxing, on the focusing on boxing a lot, so at least in the boxing aspect I understand, and I did enough training to be able to analyze, to watch the fights and understand what is more dominant, because I experienced it a little bit myself too. We had the period when we would just gather friends from MMA, wrestling, BJJ, boxing, kickboxing, we'd just gather and would do like a generic trainings and teach each other stuff and just, you know, share our knowledge and experiences. And you know, when I tried all of those, it kind of gave me a perception of which is tougher, which is harder, which is easier, and all that kind of stuff. So it's ideal. It's you gotta want to get that a little bit of experience. I would even love to, you know, hear me out, guys. If my channel keeps growing and I get more visibility and the opportunity to interview fighters and that kind of stuff, I would love to join them in their gyms and have like a little show where we do training, like their training, and I try to do the same training, and I would try to, you know, keep it up a little bit like Magnus Mitbe, the professional climber, does, but he does like with military, he does with the endurance athletes, he did it with the Eddie Hall, super cool guy, love him, he's from Norway, but like you see, he genuinely tries to follow up on what others are training. I would love to do something similar. I'm still live. Yeah, sure. What about Jackie Chan? Jackie is the legend. Do you like Habib and his team? I mean, I have respect for Habib, that's for sure. And I like Islam. Out of the Dagi fighters, Islam is my favorite. I don't like neither Umar or Usman or Magomedov. Everyone else is okay. I mean, they're trying to do their best. Very often heavily pushing on the grappling, but some of the Dagis are strikers, and I get a little bit more striking in the game. But yeah, that's basically what I say. Ilya small for welterweight division, I agree. Objectively speaking, I agree. What is number one pound for pound today? Islam, Ilya Pereira, or Merab? I think Islam deserves to be there at this point. Pereira definitely has to be at least in top 5 after his win against Ankalaev, like super dominant win, and like direct rematch basically. Ilya is second, Merab is third. Also, that's like, because between Ilya and Islam, it's always gonna be now if Ilya, when Ilya wins against Paddy and Arman, for example, he's gonna also might get again back on the first place. So there's gonna be clash between them until the point they fight each other. So it's super interesting dynamic. And Merab, when it comes to the Merab is just amazing, forced title defense, and but I still think they're gonna keep those Ilya and Islam as number 1, number 2 switching between each other, because it also creates that hype for the who is actually better. What's the channel about? Well, boxing training, boxing tips, showing my journey on the way to prepare for professional boxing fights and open my pro record in boxing. Just the talks like this, talking about UFC, live streaming and reacting to the UFC events and boxing events, depending what is upcoming, and just generally talking about life, mental health and longevity in the sport as well. Wrestling is more physical, GJ is technical. Well, I mean, it depends how you say that, because the BJJ was created, yes, for the smaller and weaker opponents to counter judo at that point, because when in the Brazil you had a lot of Japanese coming, so it was generally they would bring like Japanese jiu-jitsu, and they would like it was like hard to distinguish between judo, that was already like as a separate thing, and Japanese jiu-jitsu. But then Brazilian jiu-jitsu was created to counter it from the ground. So I'm not saying BJJ is great defensive grappling for MMA, But against dominant wrestling, and you cannot just say that wrestling is strength, because if you look at the wrestling match, the movements they execute, the throws, the maneuvers to get to your back, and like all that kind of stuff. That's the way how they can just get you like with their point of finger on the attempt of the takedown, and they just get that leg. So even a slight touch to your leg gonna result into a takedown. Wrestling is it relies on physicality. It definitely develops physique, and that's why a lot of wrestlers are training physically. They do a lot of resistance training as well to be strong enough for their weight classes as well. They're also super ripped, but they're also crazy dominant technique. So it's definitely different types of technique. BJJ might save you from the submission, from the ground position, but if you don't have a good enough wrestling, you're not going to be able to get up. And here that's what I'm saying. I think wrestling camps for a lot of fighters is a good thing to do to upgrade their fighting game. The wind goes great with your hair. Thank you. I'm putting my alarm on 5 a.m. to watch the UFC from Australia. I'll be here too. That's great. We can watch it together. Islam Makhachev and versus Ian Machado Gary. Well, I think Machado is gonna win, in my opinion, tonight, and that's gonna result into him being potentially first title defense for Islam. And I'm not saying that Ian Machado is great. He's one of the interesting contenders. So generally we have Ian, Gary, and we have Morales, we have Shavkat, and we have Pratis. Those four could be super interesting against Islam. But Ian, Gary, I think Islam might still win. You know what I mean? And to me, the Morales is the toughest matchup for Islam, and they're gonna try to keep it as far as possible for him. So it wouldn't be a first title defense for him for sure. So he's he's the first contender after tonight's win. Ilya will have so many problems against Islam apart from grappling. Islam kicks are so strong. We also against Volkanovski. Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, have you seen? And it was in lightweight. That's what I'm saying. It depends which weight class. Islam's gonna have a big advantage in welterweight if Ilya fights. But it's still not impossible for Ilya to do his stuff, his crazy knockout power. He's fully aware of the range work of the Islam, so he's gonna try to be in that very uncomfortable middle range slash the close range. He also gonna anticipate Islam going for a takedown for that point. So Ilya's teammates are very smart regarding that. I'm sure they're gonna be aware of all of that stuff. So Ilya needs that middle range to go for the knockout, but he also he is good at cutting that from the long to middle range. When it comes to the headshots, if you've seen Ilya versus Herbert, and it was his first lightweight fight, I think, and then he went down to featherweight for a while. He got literally head kicked. Everyone else probably would collapse, pass out, but Ilya recovered, fought back, and on this after round, he knocked him out. So Ilya's chin is strong, tough cookie. Ilya is not to be underestimated even that, because if you've seen that headshot, that was a clean headshot. Ilya went down on his back, and just because Herbert just he hesitated or he just thought, oh, that's over, Ilya just goes directly for his leg. That was quite a legendary moment. That's why there is so many questions about this too, because it's hard to say which way it goes clearly. It really is, guys. Can keep scrolling up, guys. Appreciate you. Diana, you're not just creating content but inspiring lives. So many like me continue doing your great work. You can bring a positive mindset, change this generation, and I'll make a movie on you. I appreciate it. I mean, guys, that's a real support, and it just gives me extra motivation to do what I'm doing. Thank you for your words. Okay. Okay, I appreciate your analysis. You're cool. Thanks. I'm just trying to make sense out of it as much as you do, guys. Okay. GDM is never seeing the belt again. He should never have been champ in the first place. Well, the fact that he was, and you gotta respect everyone who steps in the octagon and, you know, as it gets that belt essentially. He won against the Bilal Muhammad, so can't take away from him that from him. But I agree with you. With the current competition, GDM you might have to maybe try to change the weight class, but well, in a lower weight class you have Ilya currently, and yeah, you have Arman, you have quite a tough competition as well. Do you like pho? Yes, I do. I like Vietnamese food. I think Islam's next opponent gonna be Kamaru Usman. That also makes sense, and Islam called Kamaru Usman, but well, that's the thing. That's a safe fight for him. Kamaru Usman in his prime, that would be different. Like, you know how, like, he gave a hard time even to Hamzat like years ago, but right now he's on the. I think he has, like, out of the 4 fights, he has only 1 win, 3 losses. He's not at his prime anymore. So that could be an easy defense, title defense for Islam. Kamaru Usman is one of the potential, like, first title defenses, but I think Ian Gary also could be, like, if not next one, like after next one. There's also Carlos Prates, like, and Prates is cool, and you shouldn't underestimate him on the feet. But his ground game, when it comes to that, like. With Islam, it's not going to be that easy to only carry him on his back like he did with Edwards. Islam's grappling and wrestling is different level, so it might be a little bit the same dynamic as the Islam versus GDM, except Prates being more efficient on the feet in the moments when they have striking exchange could give a harder time to Islam, but still one of the contenders that could be, you know, just like, you know, easy for, not easy, but relatively easy for Islam. But then we have Shafkat and Morales. Those 2 are the toughest, I think. Islam is a walking weight. He looks comfortable in that weight, or he was even saying to gain more weight. But that's the thing, when you are in the comfortable weight, you still want to gain more, because you would do the water cut and then you would regain the weight, like the extra 20 pounds over the passing weight. And well, he would need weight against Morales, for example. He would need muscle weight against Morales, because yeah, that guy is a mutant in that weight class. What do you do for a body recovery? Sleep is the first. Good nutrition, and generally have a balance in the day. Like, try to detach from the outside stress. Even if you're in a stressful situation, detach from it. You know, don't let your outside stress come with you to home. Like, when you're at home, make sure you create peace for yourself, and, you know, create a peace of mind. And as I said, sleep, detachment from the stress, good nutrition, and baseline activity. You definitely have to be active, moving a little bit, so you are basically good. They're very nice. I love red hats. Appreciate it. Welterweights are different animals. They're too small for the division. Weight classes for a reason. Yes, absolutely. I agree. By the way, she's married. Yes, I am. Sultan Ronda Rousey. I mean, used to be a huge inspiration before, but a little bit of childish attitude towards her losing, because even when she lost, even when she got outgrown by other female competition, she could be just humble about it. She's like, you know what, that's fine. I'll retire now, and thank you for everyone thanks for the sport. And I think she would be way more appreciated now by people, if she was more humble. But yeah, there was a little bit. And whoever thought that Ronda has the best boxing, there was Joe Rogan, there was like Dana White, they're saying that she can beat Mayweather. That was the biggest delusion. So I think there is a little blame on them too, creating that illusion for her. I'm from Georgia, Tbilisi, same country as Mirab and Ilya. What are your thoughts on Kamaru Usman versus Israel Adesanya? I don't know. Let's see. Adesanya. You mean like if that fight would happen? I would go for, I don't know, prime Usman. If that was a prime, I think Usman. But Adesanya is one of the best strikers arguably in the whole UFC. So I wouldn't underestimate him either. Greetings from Guatemala. Islam will be the man if he takes out all of the 3 welterweights in the year. Shavkat Rahmana, Michael Morales first cause undefeated, then Ian Machado and Las Pradas. Well, as I said, Pradas is the easiest one. I think, and Ian is a little bit easier for comparing to Shavkat and Morales. I think they're gonna try to keep Morales. I mean, depends how UFC decides, but I think they're gonna keep Morales as the last one. Bilal should not have been the champion. The dude was a decision guy. Surprised he didn't have finishes. Good point. That's not a bad point. But you could say same about Merab, despite him being super dominant. But well, now he's trying to fix it. His team are working towards being more dominant, which is good. But I'm just saying, you're not necessarily a bad martial artist just because you don't have a finish. Because it really depends on the game. It's always more entertaining and way more dominant if an athlete goes for submission and the knockouts, no doubt. More entertaining, more less controversy. But it doesn't make you a bad mixed martial artist when you just end up to have more decisions. Islam will probably fight Kamaru and retire. Well, then there might be questions because there is such a big competition. If Islam wants to be really the GOAT of the GOATs, like GSP level and Anderson Silva level and John Jones level, he gotta have to fight at least those 4. Ian Gary, Morales, Shavkat and Michael Morales and Pradas, sorry. Those 4, he gotta fight if he and then he can retire. I'm from Georgia, as I said, same country as Mirab and Ilya. Team Georgia. Usman has too many injuries. His body has taken too much beat. That's true. He has joint injuries, both on his knees, so that's painful, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you. Karma Kunsan Glover, thanks for the donation. Appreciate it. And guys, when you do the super chat donations, feel free to ask an actual question, like a good question regarding your health, regarding the diet, nutrition, sport, whatever. Just I appreciate all the donations, but you can use it to actually ask the question that I'm gonna try my best to respond to. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting against Islam Usman. The only difference is, but the guy Sabal was correct. He has way too many injuries that are just it just stops you from being at your prime. So it's gonna be not that hard for Islam, I think. Morales is the next champ after Islam. I definitely see that, and we shall see. Islam faces him, but it's gonna be dangerous. Not only for Islam, I think everyone in the decision. He is just crazy big. He has that. Have you heard his punches? Like super dull and super like boom. One punch can knock out anyone in the division, and has a judo slash wrestling background. So it's not gonna be easy to just put him on the ground and keep him there. That's what I'm saying. Ilia Topuria is gonna move up 170. What do you think about this? I think the only way it would make sense, it would be legendary. So if Ilia does it and he dares it, first of all, if he dares it, you know, even if he loses, I think it's still, at least he's not a pussy. You know what I mean? Like he would attempt to do something that he said he would do. If he wins, three-time champion, first time in UFC, but Ilia should not stay in welterweight. He could just do that, like take them, like if he wins, that would be legendary, but then he would just leave the welterweight for the welterweights and just get the hell down back, or retire after, you know, like do something like this, because Ilia, objectively speaking, Ilia fighting someone like Morales' size, it's just like it just seemed impossible. Gary is the hardest fight. Sure, I mean, young Gary, that's what I'm saying, that the whole, like this four, young Gary, Pratis, Morales, and Shaukat, this four, at least this four, Islam has to fight to secure his legacy. Because all of those guys are, one way or another, representing some sort of threat towards Islam and challenge. I defended fighters deserve first shots at the champions. I do believe that too, but also UFC, especially if it's their favorite champion, they're gonna try to give them easier fights first. And from the point of adapting to the weight class, it's actually right way. But yeah, that's why sometimes first contenders are not having that first title shot, unfortunately. But it's about how, like, champion is, especially as I said, the UFC favorite champion is gonna always have a heavy favorite thing. So that's why they're gonna try to make sure that they're staying champion a long time. I'm not saying that Islam is not good enough. No, Islam is a strong champion, but they wouldn't want to just put him against Morales straight away, having a high risk of he being knocked out, basically. What's the accent from? Europe doesn't sound American. I'm Georgian, and before learning English in my basically 20s, in the pandemic period, like 2020, so I'm self-taught, and here I am speaking English with the mild accent that is a little bit, people don't know where that comes from, but I speak fluent Georgian and Russian, and I think that has to do a little bit with my, as much as I try to have a generic English accent, it still flukes a little bit. Bilal versus Yan, I go for Yan Gary. Ilia will never gonna move as he's 55-7. As I said, the only way, because Ilia is a little bit known for saying thing and kind of doing it, and well, they already said that he comes up to the welterweight. The only way that would be possible is for him to gain, bulk up seriously, then do the weight cut, the water cut, because most of the water comes from the muscles. So he would do water cut plus the weight and then regain that, already having a certain muscle mass built. So it will be dependent how much muscle mass he already built. If he didn't build enough muscle mass, he's not going to be able to gain enough to counter Islam. And even if there is, that would be crazy. Like if he beats all the odds and he wins Islam in the welterweight, which would be crazy, it would be legendary. Like he can't stay in that weight class. You know what I mean? Like we're just talking a little bit of logic and like what if scenarios, in the different scenarios. But like no, he is not a welterweight. He gotta stay in lightweight. What's your number one body recovery method? QATAR, massage, etc. Sleep. And thanks God I always had a good sleep, and even if you cannot to sleep, like you cannot sleep at the earlier times, at least let yourself sleep enough. So yeah, try to avoid having a sleep debt. In Vietnam, definitely massage is the thing. Every now and then I go, not too often, but I have a very good massage spot. So yeah, I always get refreshed. My body always gets better after doing that massage therapy. Water is great, swimming. In the gym they have the cold plunge. So cold plunge on the rest day, like a fully recovery day, is a good thing to do. Well, if you like that kind of stuff, obviously. I like cold water exposures. But still, sleep is the first. Who's your favorite fighter? Apart from Merab, Ilya, Georgian fighters, Alex Pereira and Alexander Volkanovski is my like heavy favorites of the current fighters. Okay, keep scrolling up, guys. Appreciate you. Don't want to be too behind on the chat, so yeah. Someone says don't be rude. Yes, don't be rude, please. The Aspinall just panic. Well, I would panic too if I had the double poked eyes. I would also get pissed, despite whether it was intentional or not. So yeah, I mean, disqualifications, a point deduction for the open hand, and disqualifications for the eye pokes. This is how they need to do that. Lily's brother is a redhead. I mean, he has light hair, but he's not a redhead. He's fighting on the prelims tonight. Morales is not beating Islam body. Well, if you're saying that Morales doesn't have a heavy advantages and chances against Islam, not necessarily technicality wise. If Morales was smaller, like Islam size, maybe not. But we're talking about the welterweight Alex Pereira with actual judo and wrestling background. Chanko, John Pork, yeah, but like he hates people calling him Porky's Adventures. Yeah, I think the strategy is just to ignore and laugh about certain things, because people gonna mock you more or call you certain names more if you say that you don't like it. You know how it works. Okay, I'm just scrolling up. Keep scrolling up, guys. Are you afraid of Chechen people? Well, you know, Chechen people as a Georgian, not really, because I don't have to do anything with that, but I'll tell you a very dark thing. Unfortunately, in Chechnya, I'm not saying that's how Hamzat lives or his family. I believe there are a lot of decent people too, but unfortunately in some of the Chechnya families, like if a woman does something wrong, and sometimes even men, but like it's heavily lays on women, if they are homosexual or something, whatever, you know, if they refuse to marry someone, they get beaten up, they even get killed. And there are a lot of cases, there have been a lot of cases when they escape and they try to find a shelter in Georgia. Unfortunately, there was this one case recently, the Chechnyan girl, she was having a shelter in Georgia, but somehow, I don't know, they give her away or something, or our government did, I don't know what happened, I don't know who was involved, but they actually brought her back to Chechnya and killed her. And no one, these women cannot be protected unless they really leave far away. So even Georgia, as the leading to the next country, is not safe for some of them. So unfortunately, there are cases like that, and that's super heavy. In Georgia, this kind of things are way less. I mean, it's more. There is unfortunately high femicide rates too, like ex-husbands going after their ex-wives and that kind of stuff. But in Georgia, at least it's condemned, and it's like there is the criminal case against it, and those people, at least some of them, unless they have some connections up in the government, they get some jail, some jail sentence. But this is like a heavy, like a dark side of the cultures, unfortunately. We appreciate you being here, guys. Thank you. What's your thoughts about UFC White House? Well, oh, gonna be super interesting. A money event. Okay, keep scrolling up. Yeah, no, it's true. I understand both Dagestanis and Chechens, especially when they have to be like, they cannot be opinionated, because even if they are safe, like Hamzat's part of the family, he's there, been in Sweden now. He's not even Chechnyan, he's not even Russian citizen anymore. But it's so, it can be so dangerous that it's like, even if you have someone in the like Chechnya of your relatives, they can pay that price. And I understand that. I actually, that's a little bit like, I'm aching for them a little bit, so for that, because like you don't have much choice to speak up when you basically could put someone in a danger by just speaking up. Levan Saginashvili is the Georgian Hulk, the arm wrestler. Yeah, that's, I think before Merab and Ilya, yeah, there was Levan Saginashvili, and Lasha Talakhadze, who is the world record holder and the multiple-time gold medalist in Olympics in the power clean and power snatch. He has the world records in those two disciplines. Well, be respectful to people in the chat, to my husband. Yeah, he's definitely not anyone's little bro. He's probably bigger than most of the people here. And yeah, be respectful to me, and you're gonna get that respect back. Otherwise, you're gonna get kicked out of the chat. In my opinion, who is the most charismatic UFC fighter of all time? Chael Sonnen. The best fighter in the world. I mean, you're gonna admit, Chael Sonnen is definitely the best into talking himself into the fight. Like, he literally talked himself into all the legendary fights he got with the top fighters in a heavyweight and light heavyweight. Привет, дочка. My mom is here. Привет, mama. Привет, mama. And Chris says привет, mama, too. Sorry, I didn't know you have a husband. Yes, I do. He's in chat. Do you think Georgian is a hard language to learn? It is. It doesn't sound like anything. You don't have groups outside of the Georgia, like the Georgian language groups. Like, for example, in the Slavic languages, you learn Ukrainian and Russian, or like you can learn Croatian, Slovakian, like Belarusian easier there, because, and you can even understand some of those languages. In Scandinavia, if you know Norwegian, you can understand Danish and Swedish. In Georgia, it's only usable in Georgia. That's it. We have some Persian and some Arabic words just integrated, like, Panjara is window, Panjara, Hurda, coins, Parda is the curtain. So those are Middle Eastern words. But generically speaking, the alphabet, the language is just, you kind of learn it from scratch. It doesn't sound like anything else. Okay, keep scrolling up. Like to talk a lot of crap, but salsify. Yeah, no, it's like, at some point, I think Brazilians hate Chael Sonnen, and like, it was, then he was like, then they made the peace with Anderson Silva later, but like, yeah, Brazilians hated Chael, but then at some point, he started like, he just like accepted, he was like, whatever, like, that's Chael Sonnen talking shit. But at some point, Brazilian people hated him. What do you think about Khabib? As I said, first Dagestani fighter, definitely pioneer, definitely a goat of his time, but retired too early. That's what I think. Do you think Chechnya is more safe or Turkey? Oh, Turkey. I think Turkey. Because in Turkey, it's tourism, it's more more multinational. Yeah, definitely Turkey. It's a rainy season. Yes, it is. Window same Panjara is the same in Turkish. Oh, that's cool. So it's like it's generic. It's like, as I said, Persian, like Ottomans, Turks. A lot of common words. Okay. Okay, she's Georgian, bro. She has fighting genetics. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Surprise, surprise, motherfucker. King is back again. Hello, hello. I remember you from the last live stream. Yeah, my husband asks a certain person here, what's you here for? You know, like I'm gonna take this moment and just leave a little comment, not just because, you know, it's like offensive or something. I actually want to think higher of a man, and I'm not saying it in a disrespectful way. I believe that men are backbone of society. I believe that there are so many intelligent men out there that who actually, even between the man to man relationship, it's based on how much they gain your respect and how much you gain their respect, and like prove yourself in the life and prove yourself in the society. And when there is a woman who is, you know, instead of doing OnlyFans and search trap you, she just tries to be based, and she tries to also push on those values, have conversations related to that. I do believe I have my husband, and I have so many men around that are like we build a relationship like that, you know. So I think very high of those men. And when there's someone like that comes in and they say like, oh, you know how we all are here, that's like, you just like, you know, sexy and hot. Well, I think this kind of man with that kind of mentality, they diminish intelligent, striving, and educated, strong men who actually are able to have a conversation beyond, you know, all the thirst topics and stuff. So I don't know. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled for it, right? Okay, keep scrolling up. You got a broadcast live. Yeah, I'll do that. It's gonna be in a few hours. The prelims gonna start in a few hours. Why Georgians has fighting genetics? Because I think we fought a lot. And in the north of Georgia, there is even like the evidence of women. So there was like a villages and it's mountain regions, so it's like very hard to move around. So at some point there would be like inner wars between the tribe to tribe, village to village, and a lot of times men would go to other village, and the enemies would try to attack the so-called vulnerable village when there are women, elderly and kids. So the prime women in their prime, would protect their village. They would, you know, do the weapons, do the everything. So even women were known for, you know, training to be able to protect their village while the men are gone. So yeah, I think that is ingrained in their mentality and in genetics to a certain extent. Your husband seems like a cool guy. He's awesome. Why do you know this much about men? Well, when you're married to a good man, and you like almost, we're married for a little bit less, but we're together for 3 years now. It gives you a good experience in life. It gives you basically saying who you surround with, both men and women, and the first person that you have 24-hour connection with is your spouse, right? So whatever you expose yourself to, that's the experience and knowledge you're gonna get. You've got it figured out better than most contestants. I don't know. Again, thanks to my husband. I mean, I learned a lot by having a right person by my side. He's the Viking. Yes, he's like a Ragnar Lothbrok. Actually, looks like Ragnar a little bit. What's your breakfast time, lunch time, and dinner time? I'm a late breakfast person. Sometimes I don't eat any breakfast at all, so it depends. Depends on my schedule. My main goal is try to get nutrition in, but usually I eat 2-3 times at maximum. Some people say Khamzat Chimaev is overrated. Do you agree with the statement? He's not overrated as a fighter. He has arguably the most dominant wrestling of the all time in the UFC. Is he as entertaining as some other fighters? Well, here is the question. Wrestling is dominating, but not the most entertaining things. And as much he has some knockout performances, and he's actually quite powerful on the feet. He can do that. He just plays a safe card. And well, that's why I was saying, and we were talking about it, that UFC has to start imposing that unwritten rule for referees to break off fights more often, because once they see that so-called activity is gone, meaning attempt for the submission, and there is just like, you know, both of them are hugging at a certain point, you need to break it off back to the stance. That's gonna push and motivate fighters, the wrestling background fighters, to get better at the striking as well. At least that's my opinion, and well, some people agree, some don't, but there is a little bit, and that's a little bit unfair, because he's super dominant, but calling him overrated just because he's not as entertaining. Well, we gotta change maybe rules a little bit to force fighters to be naturally more entertaining, having a good balance between striking and grappling in the fights. Favorite conspiracy theory? We're all in Matrix, like a Matrix movie type of Matrix. Okay, I'm keep scrolling up. Hey, thoughts on Tapuria wearing size 4 children shoes? I'll be honest, I never looked at his shoes, but I don't know. It does not stop him from having quite a good footwork for the MMA. So I guess. Well, thanks for donation, and thanks for making me laugh. Khamzat's next opponent? I'm not sure about that one. Who do we have in the middleweight? Like middleweight. Who do we have in the middleweight? I need to look through I don't remember middleweights right now. The focus has been too much on the welterweight, lightweight, bantamweight, featherweight, like those divisions. I honestly, if anything, would want some dream fights on the White House card. GSP versus Khabib, interesting. Jones versus Francis, yes, that's true. DC versus Brock, I would watch it. Maybe Chris Cyborg versus Amanda. Yeah, no, why not? Well, but I would go Amanda versus Kyla still. Like Amanda versus Kyla, I think it's already signed too, so that's the fight I would rather prefer to watch. Fantasy cards for UFC. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Keep scrolling up, guys. No, I disagree. The wrestler is working, the other opponent is doing nothing. Well, I also was saying that the other fighters who don't have wrestling background need to start going through the pure wrestling camps. So I'm not saying that, oh, let's change the rules and just cut the wrestling off. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, I think the control time, so-called, just letting them lay down on the ground when nothing is really happening, is a little bit of the BS. So what I'm saying is breaking off and changing the dynamics of as the referee to kind of control the dynamic is, I think there has to be some changes. But I absolutely agree with that the non-wrestling fighters need to focus on their wrestling. BJJ is not gonna help against the dominant wrestling. It's gonna help only to maybe at the best defend yourself from submission, but it's not going to give you the win or any advantage against the dominant wrestling. So wrestling against the wrestling is the best option. Okay, keep scrolling up. Please don't spam, guys. I'm trying to go through the chat, and the cleaner we keep it, the easier I'm gonna go through, and faster I'm gonna go through the chat. Well, for bulking, high bioavailable protein is everything aimed for 2 grams per pound of the body weight. Yes, especially if you're training an athlete. If there's any extra protein, so-called, your body doesn't need, it's gonna just wash it out from your, you know how. But there is no such thing as an extra protein, unless you have the kidney issue. There are certain issues that it's a little bit tricky with the protein, but anything apart from that, if you're completely healthy, gut microbiome and gut functioning, then yeah, protein, bioavailable protein is the super essential thing. Positive vibe identified. Hello, I'm new here. Hello, welcome. Thanks for coming. Subscribe down, like done. Appreciate it. Well, stay around. I'm doing quite a lot of live streams, not only talking, but training, UFC commentary, which I'm gonna do later today. So yeah, that's pretty much all. It's gonna be in the 5.5 hours, 5 hours and 30 minutes from now. The prelim's gonna start. Okay, keep scrolling up. Do you think a man and women in a small category putting together an aggressive fight is fair? No, it's not. In a real fight, men against women, men always going to have an advantage against women. The testosterone, bone density, muscle density. As a result, faster speed, more explosivity, more generated power, and obviously more damage for women. It's super unsafe. You have the exact same opinions as me when it comes to the UFC. Well, that means we might look at certain things the similar way, through a similar perspective. So I think that's not a bad thing. Okay, keep scrolling up. My husband is engaging through the chat as well, so yeah, feel free to ask him questions as well. He's quite knowledgeable about a lot of things. Oh, hi T-Bird. Howdy. How are you? Tell us what do you know about the creatine? Can write more detailed response. He's also eventual nutrition for the body is from the creatine, and obviously by researching an individual myself, creatine is one of the most researched. Creatine monohydrate is one of the most researched supplements, and we have the most data about it. They recently also showed the positive effects on the cognitive abilities, so that's good. It's good for your brain, basically. Definitely good for the muscle mass. Good with the combinations when you do the resistance training. There were people complaining about like burning feeling in the calves and the muscles when they would take the creatine, but then they would do cardio. So in that case, you want focus on the resistance training and supplement with the creatine, so your muscles grow rapidly. It might keep a little bit of water within it, but that's fine. It's yeah, there's nothing unhealthy about it. And the only thing is, I think there is some conditions. There is like creatine is not an optimal. Again, back to the high production of the creatinine in the body, because we produce our creatine, but creatine is something else. It's not почечники, I don't forget. It's like the glands on the kidneys that are creating it. If there is something, if there's hypercreation of it, I think creatine can have some negative effects and contribute on some further issues. But again, that's something that you can research. That's also something that you need to go through with your healthcare provider and your doctor, and find those things out from through the blood work and analysis. Apart from that, creatine has been pretty much a safe supplement and mostly doesn't give side effects. To me, it's I feel good on the creatine. It doesn't give me any side effects. The creatine is the best legal ramification area to gain strength and size. Of all other factors are in order. Yeah, that's what my husband says here too. You look like a Viking warrior. I watched in movies. You fight with society, though. What do you mean by fighting with society? I try to unify. I'm for unity. I'm for, creating, not destroying. Yeah, it's also ironic because my husband is an actual Viking. He's a Norwegian. So we're gonna have a Viking babies, Viking / Georgian Caucasian babies, like a superhumans. When it comes to the steroids, Chris gonna have a better answer for you. I'm the boss friend and the dictator of the chat. That's what husband says. Yes, and I leave it to him. Behave, because Chris has the power here. Creatine makes me look chubby though because of the probably water retention. But usually it's also temporary. Okay. There's a question about some infidelity and stuff. Well, me and my husband are super communicative about things, and we're truthful to each other, okay? And we're actually loyal as well. So, I mean, no fighting. That's the best thing. Communicate and manage things instead of fighting. Fighting is always something that breaks you apart in a relationship. The more fights you have, the more misunderstanding, the more the more issues you create and you fight over it, the more you are destined to break apart. Who is upcoming UFC fighter who is not in the lights right now and his potential to be champion? Well, I mean, there might be few, and I myself need to look more into it. That's like, I'm gonna go soon, prepare for another live stream for prelims and stuff, and actually look through all of them, just at least see their backgrounds and odds and possibilities. But I can tell you that Alexander Topuria, Ilya Topuria's brother, he's like having a second fight in UFC now against Beksat Amahan, and yeah, I think he's upcoming star. Yeah, great, appreciate that, boss man, boss lady. Okay, keep scrolling up, guys. Asked a handful of folks about over the years and got zero feedback. Glad to hear it from the trustworthy source. I feel like you guys would not steer me wrong. Well, I appreciate it, but I still encourage you to just do a little research, and so you can see for yourself what it says there. You can easily use AI and just ask it to give you a key points and key points of all the combined researches regarding creatine. I think that's the good way. So you just, it's good to trust people, but just double check. Fact checking is a great thing. Let me tell you, have a great impact on me, like your personality and interesting topics, even though it's hard to me to understand. Well, you're gonna start understanding English relatively better pretty soon if you stay around and join live streams consistently. Yeah, creatine is not a steroid. That's true. Your opinion tonight: Alexander Tapuria versus Bixat. Alexander. I will go for Alexander. I'm not saying it's gonna be like easy fight, but I go for Alexander and I cheer and I believe in Alexander. So I might be, when it comes to Georgian fighters, I might be a little bit biased, even though sometimes like I try not to, and I always try to give a credit to another fighters as well, especially if they're worthy of it. But Team Alex. Okay, keep scrolling up, guys. I'm all the way top in the Beauty with Brains. I thought your answer would be physical violence, but trust is your answer. You're a good wife material and you had learned martial arts from a decent person, not a fake one. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I also have the same feeling about people who watch me and stick around and actually share their stories. You guys are great too, and you think, you use your brains, and it's good to have a community, an audience like that, because they always gonna, like, I can always learn from you. I can learn something from you, and if you can learn something from me, that's awesome. That's called creating a win-win situation. How about hormone replacement therapy? I think Chris is gonna respond to that better. I'm for it at certain age. There is an opportunity. Yes, you gotta need to be on it, but if you are without it, you are aging and going on the decline anyway. So it's kind of people who done the hormonal replacement, both men and women, in the right way with the blood work and consistent checks, they've been doing well. Okay, here we go on the up in the chat. Intensity interval training is super good, especially for the combat sports. Your favorite country other than Georgia? There are like a lot of other countries. There's some I've been and I haven't been in. I love Vietnam. Like currently, Vietnam has not been anything but good to us, and yeah. Sorry. I think my jaw getting tense as I said. Too much talking. It is great, that's true. How do you deal with the cocky opponents? Just be based and don't talk, fight. Spare yourself, like keep your energy off the, don't spend your energy on talking. Show it on the ring or octagon. It also makes you look good, way better. I'm from Georgia, the country. But guys, I gotta wrap it up. I gotta wrap it up now because I need to prepare for the next live stream. It's gonna be UFC Fight Night, Qatar, the main event, Arman Tarakian versus Dan Hooker. So feel free to join for that one, and it's gonna be a long one because we gotta watch all of it. Like we gotta watch from the prelims to the main card. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you join for the next live stream as well. Have a good day and good night, and I see you very soon. Ciao.